Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you recovering from Collective Weekend?
Dude, I don't know how the wrestlers do it. Honestly, I was just watching and I'm exhausted. So I'm still in a great mood here. I feel really good. So how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, recovering. Yeah, we I finished the last of the Collective last night, and that was a lot of wrestling to watch in a weekend, but I would happily do it all over again this coming up weekend.
So you want to just go ahead and go over some news real quick?
Yeah, sounds good. There's a lot of news coming out of this weekend.
And there's a little bit of delay between us. So if anybody hears it, it's not you, it's just us back and forth here. We've had that here and there on StreamYard. So we're trying to figure that one out. So yeah, let's roll on to the news here. First of all, thanks to everyone for tuning in last week. No kidding. Just to get it out of the way, my mom died like 4 days before the Cole show. So I was beat up. I was trying to be my normal self. Wife was watching the show. She's like, you talked too much during that episode. So I was kind of laughing about it. She was right. So thanks for hanging in with me. And a huge thank you to everyone who sent condolences and messages of support. That includes you, Brent. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to make sure we got that out of the way because that is our only little downer, so to speak, but it's truly positive. Alrighty, here. Let me look on to the next one. I also wanted to thank last week's guest, Cole Radrick, for joining us live. We are kind of hoping you caught some hints that were dropped during our show. You can always go back and watch that episode on YouTube if you want to see maybe what was there. And I think there's still some hints in there. I don't 100% know though if they're real or not. It's just one. They're hints. We'll just see what happens. But on to WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania weekend has wrestling fans and promotions pouring in from all over the world. This includes independent companies and wrestling fans also. The GCW Collective is the pinnacle of independent wrestling. A total of 11 wrestling shows went down in 3 days. All of these shows took place at Penn's Landing Caters in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I'm not going to go any further. You know what? I will go further because we're going to talk about the venue here in just a little bit. Fans had plenty of anticipation and nervous excitement looking forward to Joey Janela's Spring Break 8. Every match on the card was big. There were a lot of anticipated matchups like Effie versus Mance Warner in an I Quit match and Joey Janela versus Blake Christian for the GCW World title. Effie's Big Gay Brunch was another one of the most anticipated shows of the Collective by fans and performers. It sold out before a match was even announced. No lie, I'm just going to be honest, 11 shows is a lot to watch. You stack on 2 nights of WrestleMania, and I'm just going to tell you, I missed one show. I missed GCW versus TJPW. So I just want to say that up front because it was the one show that got sacrificed out of all of them. And honestly, I was just busy. So I did my best to stay as busy as possible given the circumstances. So what you're hearing now, everything you hear, some of this is actually written out because I had time to do so. And it helps keep my thoughts a little more in order. So again, I appreciate everything on that end. I also want to acknowledge all the referees that took part in these events. Also, the ring crew did a fantastic job. Huge thanks to GoPro and their group for giving us the best shots of the action all weekend. Crowd audio and match audio was good also. I loved seeing the smiling wrestlers filming video for each other. I thought that was something that just looked super positive, super supportive. They were just happy as hell down there. I feel bad for Emil fighting with that microphone every now and then. No lie. I gave him just a little bit of trouble. I think they fixed it a little bit on day 3. But I loved seeing him in the clusterfuck. What were your thoughts on that clusterfuck, bro?
Oh my God, yeah, clusterfuck. Well, I think that was like the best way to end Collective Weekend, though. I thought it was crazy and good, and way better than expected. I think they tweeted out today, like someone a video package of it saying it was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I was thinking the Punjabi prison match, but yeah, clusterfuck was crazy. But also, I think one of the highlights of just the whole weekend in general, counting WrestleMania and everything else, it was a fun show to end WrestleMania or Collective Weekend. I think
100% agree. And last but not least, a huge thank you to Brett Lauderdale for having the vision to develop and grow the collective concept into such a huge series of events. Brett, we both sincerely hope you hit every goal you were shooting for that weekend. Then on to day 4. We had the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In related news, Sabu no-showed his own induction ceremony. You can take the man out of ECW, but you can't take the ECW out of the man. So just like the Sex Pistols when they no-showed the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, honestly, that's true punk. So Brett released a little message on Twitter, and I wanted to read that to you real quick. He said, in the true spirit of independent wrestling, Sabu has decided to keep his deposit and no-show the Indie Hall of Fame ceremony today. He accepted the booking and took the money, but doesn't want to get in the elevator and come upstairs. What a legend. So any thoughts on that? I mean, I kind of think I covered the ECW part of that, but what you thinking?
I think Brett did a good job of taking the high road there and just kind of accepting like that's kind of, I bet he was possibly expecting that possibly happen with one of the talents. I'm pretty sure he didn't want Sabu to be the one to do it because I think he was like the big highlight name. But I mean, he could have went full Orth and Scorch and like just ripped Sabu with like I think a lot of promoters would have done. But I'm kind of glad he took the high road because it is like how we said, true ECW spirit. That's a legend, and ECW doing what ECW people do. So I'm kind of glad he did take the high road instead of just shitting on Sabu.
It's a really good point. I like that. So it's also good to know that the spirit of earthquake is still alive. There was a 4.8 earthquake in Lebanon, New Jersey, around 11 a.m. last Friday morning. It was the third strongest earthquake in New Jersey history since they started recording 280 years ago. Social media blew up from people at the Collective weekend who were experiencing all the shaking. So then I do want to go ahead and we can start talking about the Collective now. That's where I felt like I didn't want to get too far ahead. So first I want to cover presentation. The banners were beautiful. The 2 TVs on the wall look good on hard cam. There were different colored lights on entrance. I think it was a good usage of light because it can really create and or enhance the atmosphere. And I think it puts fans in a different world, which is what these companies want to do. They want to have that escape. You know, they want to be the entertainment, the focus of all the attention. So I really enjoyed that. What were you thinking about any of that so far?
I like the banners too. That was cool that each show had its own separate banner. I thought that was awesome. It looked really good. Like it kind of reminded me of like the terminal a little bit with the banners hanging out in the back, but with the hard cam and the way it was facing, I thought it was good. The video, like the 2 screens, I thought was awesome. I really liked everything like they did. Like from top to bottom, the Collective, from what I read too, how well they got the fans in and out between shows and everything was real smooth. I know at Collective it was real smooth too. So it's nice to see that production and still the security and everything was handled well. They didn't look like anything crazy happened over there. So I was very happy with the whole entire weekend of how it got presented and kind of how smoothly it seemed it all went along. Because I know it came across smoothly on watching it on Triller TV.
Okay, so on to the next thing that I think was big to both of us. I don't want to speak out until I hear your opinion, but I'm loving the bleachers. I always wanted bleachers on hard cam. It looks fuller. All the fans get a better view. The visuals are more exciting. The rest of the room here, it seemed very hotel-like in presentation, but I'm a big fan of the 70s, so the mirrored ceiling I thought was really cool. 2 disco balls would look amazing in there. So my overall is I like the venue. From there, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, you hit everything that was spot on with the venue and everything. I agree with it all. The one thing I just wish it would have had a little bit more, let a little violence kind of insert itself into the venue. But I know certain venues won't like that. But that was kind of missing for the whole GCW field, just kind of like how it was missing last year. But last year they kind of did some workarounds to avoid the glass. But I just was feeling this year was kind of, I missed the ultra violence in Collective weekend. Planet Death was always just something completely different, like how Bloodsport was completely different, like how the world on Lucha was always different. That was the only thing I would kind of say negative about the venue, is I just wish they would have let him get a little bit more ultra violent in there. But the Punjabi prison match definitely made up for all the missing violence that I was missing on that weekend.
So I would say that's all the news, brother. Do you want to go ahead and we start right with Defy and roll forward?
Yeah, so I kind of think right along with you. I got some quick notes on kind of like the non-GCW show. So we're going to just kind of hit the key spots that we think on each show, and then really dive in, excuse me, to this Joey Janela Spring Break, the Bloodsport, and the GCW specific shows. But I definitely want to cover all the shows because I think Defy and Progress and TJPW, they brought good talent, great in-ring action, and like I kind of feel like they stuck to their brand of show and presented it that way on GCW instead of just kind of conforming to the GCW way, which I think was really smart of these companies to do, to give possibly new fans that never saw Progress or Defy, and it's their first time watching them. They don't feel like it's just another GCW kind of promotion. It has its own not its own rules, but like they kind of stick to the rules and have their own storyline. So I kind of like how each show stayed individualistic with that part, especially like this Defy show.
Yeah, each one was different and unique. And I was just really happy that the GCW gave them the stage without kind of what you're saying, like overpouring the water with their own thing going on there. So I really see what you're talking about there. On my side, CCK reuniting Kid Lycos and Chris Brooks. I thought that was an awesome thing there. Also, they were up against the Moonlight Express. That's Mao and Speedball. Overall, though, that was an awesome match. I don't know if any fans have a chance to maybe go into Defy because they missed it, but that's one right there I definitely recommend.
Yeah, and I thought that was I got excited right away. If that's how the collective is starting with those four, and I love all four of them. It's Kid Lycos, man. I think I have a lot of notes on him because he was like a kind of a, to me, he stood out a lot just because of how much he grew since the last time we seen him in GCW when they're, I believe when they were out in the UK is when the last time we saw him. And I kind of was thinking he was like a little, like we thinking he was like a little Blake Christian back then, but man, he got some size on him. His in-ring was impressive. And yeah, seeing CCK reunite and Chris Brooks in there with Mao and Speedball, I right away said I need a Speedball versus Chris Brooks match because those two could just tear the house down, I think. And I'm so glad to see Chris Brooks back.
So then the other thing I wanted to mention, the BMF Battle Royal. If you want to watch something really interesting there, Galeno Del Mal saving himself from being eliminated was an awesome feat of strength. It was worth having a separate note on just that. I love the Dragon Gate chants that happened before and after the three-way tag team match. And my big thing here, the main event, Kenta versus Gringo Loco, a fire 23-minute match. You had Kenta. He was the title holder for 306 days. He beat Nick Wayne in a 34-minute banger at Defy Pantheon. He's also the IWGP Tag Team Champ with Chase Owens as the Bullet Club. Gringo, he holds 3 championship titles right now: Warrior Wrestling Lucha, PWR Remix, and Demand Royal Canadian Tag Team Champ. So there was a lot of talent in that ring. Again, 23 minutes. They brawled all over the arena. Kenta retained. I think it was a great ending to the first show of the evening. Of the day.
Right. No, I wrote here first thing. I was glad to see Gringo get the main event world title match, main eventing against Kenta. That's a big name for him to go against. And I know that you've been begging for Gringo to have gold, but at least it was kind of cool to see him challenge for the gold in a big spotlight match, especially for Defy. And I think the Defy talent definitely stepped up and provided a fun show with the great in-ring action that I've come to kind of expect from Defy. One other person I saw in that show I kind of wanted to bring is a personality, rapper, singer, Mega Ran. Him coming out and kind of getting a little spotlight during the Defy show was awesome because he was at one of the first, I think it was my son's first Ring of Honor show in Vegas, and he was in the ring singing, and then Bully Ray came out and beat him up in the ring with the chair. And like, that was the first time I seen my son like get so into wrestling. He wanted to run down and go chase after and beat up Bully Ray. So seeing Mega Ran at the Defy show get a little entrance was pretty cool, I think, of this show.
I wanted to just say why we have a chance, because normally we're acknowledging everyone who comes in. I just want to say, Alan, we definitely see you here, bro. I haven't had a chance to check up on everything he's saying here, but he's just as happy as we are about everything that went down. We're going to get into this one thing you mentioned here, Alan. Cole winning the brass ring was lit. Yeah, we were really surprised by that. It was a beautiful moment. I was watching that show later in the evening, so I had to silently scream. I don't know how that goes, but I was like slapping my fucking couch and like, yeah. So, you know, our dog did it. I thought that was really cool. So that's the one thing. Now, I'm the unprofessional one just for a second. I have to turn on my fan because I want to make sure it's not making any noise in the microphone. Is it okay if you see if any Alan or somebody had anything to say there? Just for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I was gonna piggyback off of that because see what happens when we get talent on GCW Game Changer Weekly. We end up pushing them to title runs and title championships. So I thought that was kind of cool, just having him be on our show and then kind of talking about it. And then it was cool. I was so shocked that he won too. I know you were probably really happy with that, John. When he comes back, I know he's going to talk about it later, but that was a cool thing that we were seeing too, Alan. I popped for Cole, and I really liked how they kind of planted the seed here where Cole doesn't necessarily have to go for a singles belt. He could use that for him and Alec Price to challenge for a tag belt. I thought that was a nice little seed they planted on there. When are we getting Alec on here? Yeah, Alex need to come on next so he can win the next Do or Die Rumble and have the next title shot.
You know, that's not a bad idea. He's one of the ones that I really do want to have on here. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I can't put words in anyone's mouths or intentions on anyone. So he is someone that I do have intentions of having on here. He is definitely on my radar. We get along with him really well. He is a nice guy. So that's something I think in time, fingers crossed, will be something we want to do, like to do. I don't know how to put it. I want to say we have all the intentions. We'll get a hold of him when the time is right. He's a busy man, so we'll see what happens. Oh, right here.
Yeah,
what do we
Alec
got?
Would be
next?
a fun guest.
So what do we got here? Oh, Bloodsport. That was crazy, dude.
Yeah, Bloodsport. I'll let you take the first note. That one, I want to piggyback off of that. But yeah, Bloodsport was a spectacle. And as Alan mentioned just a little bit earlier, that Bloodsport got a shout out on NXT tonight, which was awesome. Wish they would have added GCW to it, but at least we got Bloodsport out there, and maybe could get some fans to check out Bloodsport and then check out what other cool stuff GCW's doing.
I'm laughing at Lindsay here. Said we need Alan on the pod. Funny thing, on the Plant podcast one time. Was it a Plant? No, it wasn't the Plant podcast. I think it was on one of my Twitch streams. We had Alan on, and it was me and him just kicking it with a small group of people. We had a good time. Neither of us had a loss for words. He's talkative, I'm talkative. So it was one of those things. We haven't done that in a while. So if we ever get back to a kickback here, I told Alan, I definitely want to get him on that because he is a ball of fun. No kidding. That's like the one thing I can say about him for sure. But he also has learned a lot. He knows his shit, and he's a young cat. So he's like we were at one time. He's enthusiastic, and yeah, he's a good guy. I'll tell you what, anything he puts out, I'll try to promote when I get a chance because he's cool as hell. So yeah, just like all the listeners we have, man, you guys are some of the coolest people, supportive people, nicest people. So, hey, so yeah, let's go ahead. And I trailed off there. That happens sometimes. I squirreled. Yeah. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport X. So this was the second show on the first day. So I wanted to mention Nick Khan, CM Punk, and several other WWE superstars were spotted at this show. Khan and Lauderdale took a picture together. Justin Barrasso of SI.com gave a statement regarding WWE's possible plans of working with other wrestling companies. So here's his quote, what he said. Quote, speaking with numerous contacts surrounding Khan, One of WWE's potential explorations is to engineer a collaboration with other professional wrestling promotions. That's an area WWE rarely explored during McMahon's 4+ decades of leadership, so it represents a new realm for Khan to make a lasting impact. So I want to just go right there and say the quote said wrestling promotions, but I feel the big thing that WWE may be eyeing is GCW's Bloodsport concept. And I wanted to put it in the Bloodsport arena so we could kind of talk about that a little bit. But I'm hoping this does equate to some form of an agreeable partnership, be it at the company level or at the concept level of Bloodsport. So I'm kind of curious on what you have to say on this one.
I think on a concept level is Bloodsport is what they've been trying to do like 3 different times. Like they had like that Raw Underground. I think that's what they wanted to be kind of Bloodsport. It came like trash. They did that Brawl for All back in the day with the real punches and getting real knockouts. And I think that ruined it because they couldn't control Dr. Death winning it. They all thought he was going to be the one and then just took one lucky punch. So I think that messed up like storyline stuff for them. But I think now with like especially with the merger with TKO, UFC, and WWE, I think what they're going to start having is having a UFC be the real MMA, WWE be its own little wrestling thing, but somewhere in the middle, you're going to have Bloodsport. I think that's where we could have some like UFC names that kind of like the Josh Barnett's, the people that kind of like that catch wrestling and the actual wrestling aspect of it. I think that's where they're going to merge a lot more. And yeah, Bloodsport with that name, that's just a cool name for both of them. And I think it would show the realism of MMA while promoting the
safety of the performer.
And kind of
that's my thought.
Yeah, like that wrestling would do. Yeah, for sure. And I think like with Dempsey making it like you can see some of the old wrestlers like the people that like the kind of crossover stuff, like Dempsey was a perfect one that showed up. And I think him versus Mikowski was a perfect matchup because Mikowski is like the MMA version of wrestling and Dempsey wants to be like the same way. And I really think that in the middle of TKO, that's what they could possibly do with Bloodsport is to make its own little separate thing that's different from WWE and different from MMA while putting the two together. I think that's obviously what they're going for, but working with other companies would be cool with GCW, but I think the same way. I think they just want the concept of Bloodsport while still being able to work with TNA and other wrestling companies. But I think that's what I envision is the end game for the whole WWE checking out Bloodsport.
Yeah, and they're partnered with the parent company with UFC. So this is one of those things where it's just a perfect hybrid. And that could be, yeah, you're right though. This has been multiple attempts. So yeah, this is a very interesting one. I feel like though overall, I mean, there's going to be profit. I mean, there's an end game there, profit, but I'm hoping there's also a vision for the better of the industry. So it also could be, and I'm digging a little, it could be to attain more independent talent and to choke out AEW of their potential pool. And I know that's really out there, but I think that's digging deep because at the deeper level, I think that competition is really the one thing that drives pro wrestling. So I don't know. I mean, just throwing it out there, I really do think it's going to have to be Bloodsport because it's not talent development. It's not one of those things because it sounds like a good answer, but GCW doesn't really have contracted employees besides Gage. So it's doubtful the potential partnership is about talent acquisition because really there's no need for GCW middleman for negotiations with talent. So it also could be that WWE sees what fan sees, the diamond in the rough, the second coming of ECW without most of the unnecessary bullshit. That could be what they see also. The WWE are currently in some small agreement with TNA about talent usage. But what does GCW have that TNA doesn't? So I still say Bloodsport. TNA has contracts and exceptional overhead. GCW, when it comes to that, is a touch more liquid, I would say. So my last couple statements on this. I know GCW can't be on CBS at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. So again, I keep asking, what does GCW have? Like maybe their tape library, maybe they don't. But I've heard that WWE was looking into making 2 different versions of Raw and SmackDown. Have you heard anything about this yet, Brant?
I just think that they wanted Raw to kind of be not PG no more once they go to Netflix, and I think I not stealing your notes here, but I kind of like have the same feeling with The Rock and everything else that they've been kind of doing on Raw, even on SmackDown. But I think SmackDown and Fox is a lot more tighter especially when it comes to that button with the fans and any kind of cussing. They're a lot more quick to the trigger than they are right now in USA. So I could see them kind of doing two different versions, one more kind of adult themed
Yes.
while keeping one that's on network TV a little bit more child friendly for sure.
Yeah, just
But
put
I
the
haven't heard
bleeps in
anything
there.
other than what the test is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's really reaching, but maybe that uncensored branching out is where GCW hangs on the tree, but that's going way out on a limb. So we'll see. I want to go ahead and get back to Bloodsport because that was going to go even deeper, and I don't want to go there. I always love the intro to Bloodsport where all the competitors are brought out to the ring. I love when they show that, and also the place looks so much fuller and it looks just awesome once it's filled up. That was our first look at what the place is going to look like for some of these other shows.
Yeah, I love the entrance too. Like it feels like it's something out of a movie. All the contestants are up there. It kind of felt like Karate Kiddish when they get up there in front of everybody before the fight and stuff. And I kind of want to see a little bit more interactions, like maybe like more of a face off, because they don't really come face to face. They just go off to their opposite sides. But I would
Yeah.
think it'd be cool to have some tension at the beginning to kind of start getting the fans into it, and especially that atmosphere. It's like MMA, like you just want to see them punching the blood. And I think right away, if you start off with two people about to fight before they even have stuff going on later on, I think that would be a cool thing to do at the beginning.
Well, you know how they stand there just like that. I think it would be cool if they announce the matches of the night and the people have to walk out from that and stand in the center of the ring and kind of do their little thing there. I think that would be kind of cool.
I like how
All right.
Barnett gives the crowd time to like chant the blood sport too. Like at the end, you could tell like well, I think one wrestler was about to leave or one, and then like he kind of like shot him a look like no, like wait, the crowd's going to start the blood sport, like just wait for it. And then the fans kicked in and started chanting blood sport. I think that's always a cool feel too. That's the moment too. I think that fans really get into what's about to come for that show.
Dude, yeah, this show was really good. I'm kind of bang out some things on this one too. Nick Nemeth looked in tremendous shape. His match with Speedball was completely just fantastic. I've ran out of words already here. The astronauts chant before and after the Abe Nomura match. Just a little side note, Cage Match has a ranking system from 1 to 10. Astronauts had 40 votes from wrestling fans. 33 are perfect 10s. The remaining 7 are 9s. They're averaging 9.73 out of 10 as a team on Cage Match. Honestly, that is unheard of. Baszler versus Masha ended prematurely in my mind. Fans seem to agree. Jordan Grace showed up to be by Masha's side. I thought that was nice. The women's championship ended weirdly to me. Masha goes out of the ring and the match was called. I thought the person had to just get back in the ring. She must have gotten knocked out. Again, that could just be me tired when I saw it. But last, Josh was in good shape. Johnny Bloodsport had a right arm injury and still worked his ass off. Josh won and grabbed a mic, and this is what's important. He announces on June 22nd, Bloodsport will be in Japan. Rampage Jackson will be involved. What are your thoughts, sir?
Okay, so you're gonna open up a whole bag of things here, Rampage. I've been a Rampage fan. I was a Rampage fan like back in Pride before he showed up at UFC. I was like at his debut in the UFC. Like I'm a giant. I got at Comic-Con. I let him slap me. Like I went and talked shit to him about like one of his rivals, and he just kind of looked at me like, "You serious? He's talking to me?" And then he literally smacked me like across the face. I'm like, "Yep, that's the moment I want." Because everyone else they get like just the picture of him just mean mugging everybody. I'm like, no, I want an experience. I want a moment here. And I was able to push his buttons and got slapped with them. But didn't they just have one, or is that the one that they're going to have in Japan? Because I thought in one of my group chats, I thought I just saw that they were just recently going to have a blood sport with Rampage, Suzuki, and all that. Is that the same card? And it's just maybe I got the dates wrong? Or
yeah, it's
know.
The same card, or maybe I got the dates wrong.
Yeah, but
I never know.
That's one when I saw it announced. When I saw that announced, I'm like, if that's what Bloodsport's going to be outside of GCW, I am full on in. Rampage is one of those hybrid, like he could do the MMA, but he also loves the professional wrestling aspect of everything. And I think he would be like, he's an awesome fit there with Suzuki and all that. Like that has my attention like no other. That's why I was like, I got scared. I'm like, wait, did I miss the first show? Because I actually thought it was just about to happen, but I didn't think it was in June. But I mean, I'm excited for what Bloodsport's going to do outside of GCW. I took a couple notes too real fast. I loved all the matchups. Dempsey coming out was cool. I just felt like every match was a little bit short and little awkward endings. I wish it would have been a little bit more hard hitting finishes and a little bit more like submission finishes that were like real on submissions. Cause I felt like just a little bit of the whole fights were good. Just the endings just felt a little bit off to me. But overall, I love the atmosphere and seeing all the WWE talent there to support everybody is like, as you said, Jordan Grace, Zoe Stark being able to go on ringside at a GCW show was crazy and just an awesome visual for anyone that is a WWE fan that wants some more independent like crossovers. That's kind of Alan was saying. But I thought it was a very fun overall show, and I think it was a good barometer to show Nick Khan and WWE of what Bloodsport is. And I think the fans were like the biggest, most important part because without the fans getting that into it, Nick Khan and them wouldn't give two shits about Bloodsport other than just hopping in, stealing the concept. So I was overall very happy with Bloodsport. And I liked how they did the women's tournament in between and added something at the end.
Yeah.
That was kind of not just a Josh Barnett versus a big name. It was kind of like a big moment for somebody. And I enjoyed Bloodsport. It was awesome. And yeah, Barnett, at least you said, look, I thought he looked really good. Out of the last couple of times I've seen him in Bloodsport or just in general, that was the best he's looked. He was flying, like he looked really good, like moving around that ring.
Yeah. I could see some MMA guys as they get older and maybe they're done wrestling, in UFC. Maybe they could take their creativity and move over to Bloodsport. And then we are seeing somebody who'd been around for 3, 4, 5 years, and now we get to extend their career an additional 5 to 10 years if they do it right. So that's the other part of Bloodsport, is that it may not all just be about the physical aspect, but it can be about the creativity now. So we can have some screwy endings. We can have some things go on down there. We can have an armbar that turns into this and then switches to this and 1, 2, 3 done. Like creativity can be a big deal here, and I really look forward to that.
I'm the same way. That's where I was going. That's why I think that the TKO wants it could be its own little separate brand because with a mix of both worlds in one, and you mix MMA and sports entertainment and still be able to control endings and create cool moments, as you just said, of something like a reversal that we would have never seen in MMA. But hey, that like they could have done it, but we really know it's kind of hard to do. But that's where the sports entertainment aspect comes in. You can see a lot of cool stuff, and I'm hoping if Bloodsport continues on, that is the path it goes down.
And here we are with Kev. He says, hey, now, how is everyone? So far, we're doing good. We've only screwed up once or twice, and it's all been on my end. So far, so good. He said, I see Bloodsport on the same level as a no ring match. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel it's just like a no ring match, or do you feel that? What do you think?
They've been MMA and with as you said, keeping the safety aspect, and it's really been more like MMA wish. But I think now if there is some sort of crossover, we could start seeing a lot more cooler things. I think Bloodsport is just at its infancy. Once you start really adding in some of that stuff, but then you don't also want to take away the authenticity of it because then that's going to kind of hurt the overall look of it. But I don't think it's too gimmicky or anything like that. I think it's has its place, and I've said that since I first saw it. Even when during COVID, when they kind of ran it in that little warehouse for like the 1 or 2 blood sports. I think it was like Bloodsport 2 and 3. I thought that kind of added its own kind of cool feel to it all, and I definitely think it could be its own little separate entity as a crossover between MMA and wrestling.
Yeah, Alan said Dempsey facing Mikowski was dope. Being in the Bloodsport environment fits him well. He also said, what I personally want is WWE to have their stars go to the indies periodically. Yes and no, and here's why. The big companies are kind of iffy when it comes to going down to the indies and possibly having their investments injured. So sometimes there's really big verbal or contractual agreements where it's like, hey, just come on, like they're going to come over here, be really ginger with them, whatnot. So it's so rare and far and in between. It's kind of what AEW was doing with Jon Moxley. It's something kind of like that. So, let me go ahead and get back over here real quick because I know we got to stay on our stuff. We got a lot of stuff here. You ready to roll on to DDT Pro Wrestling, our third show of the day?
Yes. DDT was another fun show. DDT, I love that company, man. I get smile even just thinking and talking about them because they are just fantastic.
Yeah, it's like GCW Japan. You know, it just has that free-flowing fun to it. So there was a Cheeton appearance. Yoshihiko comes out to save Cheeton. I wanted to make sure I put that in there. I also love seeing Nick Wayne and Billy Starks out there. This was the third Mike Bailey appearance, and it was only the first day. I wrote here that he may be the hardest working man at the Collective. He had a fantastic match with Ueno. Last thing I wanted to say, just as a show, because I tried to keep it short, overall, the show was fantastic. And it's another one that I recommend that people just spend the time to sit down and check out. Because again, I think it's like GCW Japan. Each personality has personality, and that goes far with us.
Yeah, I've been saying the same thing. GCW or DDT is GCW in Japan. I love the crossovers that they did. Let me go back on one of your notes. I was going to piggyback off something you said. Let me see real fast.
No,
Can you put your notes back real fast?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that.
Oh, Speedball, that's what it was. I got it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If HBK is Mr. WrestleMania, Speedball is Mr. Collective. Every year he is in 10, 15 matches that weekend, and they're all off the board. You got the Bloodsport, you have a good comedy match, you got this Ueno match was awesome. Like, he is just all over the board, but I think that's where he loves. He loves doing the fight entertainment shows, the real one-on-one with Nick Nemeth and Bloodsport. He loves all the different varieties of wrestling. So I just see him that's him, like just giddy at Disneyland, be able to ride all the rides and have fun during Collective Weekend. But he's also the MVP of it because he is on every single show, and it's awesome to see because he's obviously worked on it, worked very hard. And I'm glad they made mention, since they've been they kind of said what we've all said, and others have said it too, but since he's been back in the US, he's made a statement of, hey, this is all the years that you guys missed from me, and I'm going to send the message out and recoup some of that time I missed away from you guys. DDT, I thought it was cool real fast seeing Brian Keith back in DDT and in a GCW ring. Teaming with Shota. Shota coming back was cool. And once again, after this match and him, Brian Keith and Chris Brooks, I need to see a Brian Keith versus Chris Brooks one-on-one match. Dan the Dad versus Cheeton was the absolute pinnacle DDT match. They both just killed it. I loved it. Mal versus Billy was fun, really good. I got so mad at the ending when I thought there was not going to be anybody, but the rock, paper, scissors got me. Like, that is DDT too. If that was for the GCW, that was for the world title, if I believe in DDT. That was if that happened for a GCW world title, I'd be losing my shit right now. But since it was DDT, I loved it. It was fun. It kind of was a good way to protect both of them. And Takeshita, seeing him in GCW and DDT was awesome. I love him being a bully, and I really just hope DDT stays a staple for Collective Weekend, because I think they just bring so much fun and excitement and a different show than what we're going to get from all the other things that we'll see in Collective. And I think they definitely have a foothold in the Collective and GCW fans, and I loved it. It was awesome. I DDT, come back.
You know what? Lindsay Lohan Sabre Jr. here. I love Speedball, but I also think he's part of the reason the Collective shows feel same-ish. I believe I know what you're saying here. Basically, a lot of talent bleeds into other shows, and I think that is part of the quality situation. So if you have someone like Speedball, he's at the top of the food chain right now in independent wrestling. So as much as they can, he's going to bleed. And that's what's happening. Is you have Marcus Mathers, who he had so many incredible matches this weekend too. So I think it comes down to who really wants it and how hard are they willing to work for it. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So I just figured I'd go ahead and put that out there. You ready to roll on to GCW and JCW versus the world?
Yes, I am.
All right. So you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
You can go first.
Alrighty, GCW versus JCW. No, GCW and JCW versus the world. This was the midnight show on 4/4/24. We had another packed house. And don't kill me here. This was the debut of Siri. It was a great match with Masha. Ended in a draw after 30 minutes. Both come out of the match looking stronger. I would 100% watch that again. It hit me sideways. I didn't expect it. And I think that's what made it so damn good. I was happy to see Jordan Oliver back. Egg LeBlanc killed it. I'll stop right there. Do you have anything to say about Jordan Oliver at all, Brant?
I was obviously so happy to see him back. I just wish they would have made his return a little bit bigger, being a former JCW champion and him being gone for that many months. I thought they could have he could have just showed up as a big surprise and like kind of done something, or a little bit more hype for him. But I get it. It's independent wrestling, and there's a lot of names that they got to sit there and promote. But me being a Jordan fan, that was the one thing I was just really hoping for during this 10. But I was so happy to see him back. And yeah, he looks smooth. That match with Blanc was perfect. And that was kind of like what they did overseas. And I'm glad that Blanc was able to show out over here on US soil against Jordan, and they both killed it.
Oh, you know what else killed it? Los Desperados. I love that they had matching masks. I thought they looked great. They had the white, gold, and then the black theme colors in that order. And although they match perfectly with the same colors, each outfit is still unique to the individual. So I'm still going to stick with it. They have something special. I'm a huge, huge fan of them. Any thoughts on that one, brother?
I wrote that match fucking ruled. And after seeing it, I picked singles dream matches during this whole collective. Like Chris Brooks had his. Now I'm going to Arez and Yamato. I want to see those two in a singles match. Man, that like the charisma between those two, but also the creativity and like their move sets and styles. I think they would have a tremendous one-on-one match. But yeah, Desperados versus Dragon Gate was fucking awesome. And Desperados, man, they're the reason I want to just add a trios title to GCW, just to see them have gold and just wrestle in trios, because they kill it every single time. And yeah, that was the one that I fucking ruled.
Also, speaking of favorites, the Garbage Daddies and Manders versus Astronauts Arena match. Highly recommend that. The 7 versus 7 was also awesome. Following tag rules makes it better sometimes. I know I'm the strict cornet guy on that one, but the match was made by the tag rules in this one. Team GCW and JCW versus the world was very good. Tankman's tope was worth mentioning. Mr. Danger getting in his crazy spots, a springboard Phoenix splash to the outside onto his opponents, and then Mathers just kicking ass. Last for me, the 4-way tag team match, Mal resuscitating Yoshihiko, and finally in GCW, Boisterous Behavior. That's the team of Man Like Derice and Leon Slater. And those are, for me, across the pond, those are two of my favorites. So what do you have to say about GCW and JCW versus the world?
Piggybacking off that main event, yeah, I was very glad to see Boisterous Behavior. A man like Derice, I think, was a big spotlight and shining star throughout the whole collective. He killed it in every single one of his roles and matches, and I'm glad to see him kind of get those opportunities. And yeah, seeing him team with Leon Slater, obviously us being both fans of both of theirs, so that was cool to see. And I just love Mao and Yoshihiko, so I couldn't say anything more than that main event was everything I wanted it to be. Going back to Cole, Alec, and Manders, they looked like they were having fun in the ring and having fun out there. That's awesome to see. That was a very fun match. And Team GCW, the team that they had, I loved all like the names. And was glad to see Tony in there, but I kind of felt weird he wasn't booked a lot more this weekend with all these shows. I kind of was, I don't know, I felt a little weird that not seeing our favorite asshole out there all the time. And same thing with Teriyaki. Once I saw Teriyaki, I'm like, oh, why isn't this young kid out there getting a lot more opportunities? So those were just two names I was glad to see in this team and get this match at least this night and on GCW during the collective weekend. I just kind of wish I saw a little bit more of those two throughout the entire weekend. But that show was awesome. It was a good show. Once again, like, yeah, all the talent delivered, and I thought that was a good way to that Team GCW, or the main event, was a good way to end that show.
All right, so on to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. This was the first show on the second day. I put in here that, and I'm just going to say it for both you and I, Brant, the high level of wrestling involved. These ladies were fantastic. I watched the whole show. For me, the main event was really the banger that I would recommend here. Miyu Watanabe, I think I said that right. Maybe I'm wrong. I wrote down here, has a ton of personality, came out like just wildfire, accidentally pulled the lens off the camera and still handled it well. And the last thing I just want to mention in this one, I forgot about Maki's original entrance. I definitely like her MDK entrance better. So that's my notes on TJPW. What are you thinking, brother?
The women definitely stepped up. That TJPW, like that, the talent in ring was fantastic. The presentation, everything was awesome, and I'm glad that came across. And yeah, they kind of blew my mind. I was expecting really good matches, but man, they just stepped up to another level. And seeing names like Vert Vixen, Aja Kong, and yeah, Watanabe was like one that stood out. I was like, yeah, she like felt like she fit right in, and I was very impressed with everything. And I was glad to see the talent just step up and deliver. And yeah, that was a very good technical wrestling, but with a lot of fun presentation, a lot of fun stuff going on and gimmicks. And I love the show. It's definitely exceeded my expectations going in.
All righty, on to Progress Wrestling, my friend. This is the second show of day 2. I'll just go through my notes here. I enjoyed watching Progress Wrestling's opening package. I would love to see GCW have something somewhat similar. Fans were reacting in British accents. I thought that was hilarious. I enjoyed Gringo coming out in orange and lime green like the 90s Nickelodeon colors. The kid in me appreciated that. Mathers came out in the old Phillies baseball outfit. And again, I just wanted to mention he had 10 shows that weekend. I saw a couple of Mad Kurt armbands from some of the British wrestlers. Rest in peace, sir. People think it's funny. I sometimes mention that the wrestlers gear, but I think they put a lot of time into it. I feel like it's the paint on a car. So you're going to hear me mention gear every now and then, probably a lot more than most people who do any type of review podcasts. I have here that Kid Lycos, too, was incredibly quick. I'm looking forward to his future. Bussy versus Money and Session Moth was a very fun match. Moth and Allie became drinking friends. Partner swapping happened. Money and Effie versus Allie and Moth. Bussy with a little Jarrett strut towards the end. Big Damo is my dude. He was a welcome sight. And lastly, that Derice versus Kid Lyco match was on fire. Your turn, sir.
I loved like how it stayed Progress Wrestling. It didn't dive into the GCW, as I was saying. I loved how they stuck to their personality, stuck to their
Good
talent. One. Their talent absolutely delivered. Kid Lycos, I have him all over my notes. Just wow. And that one-on-one match with Derice, like seeing him in a singles match was really, really, we got to see him grow. And just seeing him with tagging back with Brooks earlier that weekend was seeing the improvement, but one-on-one and Derice, yeah, that was a great show, and I'm glad they got the spotlight match on that show, and Progress delivered. Big Damo was a surprise. Seeing Tesh, what's his name, Fisher or Tesher? I always forget his name. Axel. The guy he was on Bloodsport too. I totally forgot his name, but the
Axel.
I don't know. Axel. Axel is just what I know him by. So saying him too, like he's actually improved. And I kind of like how he's kind of found himself over in Progress. And same with Damo, like they're able to just kind of create their own little things. And yeah, Progress delivered. And I'm so glad that I'm just glad they stuck to their kind of tendencies and put on their show, because it did feel different, but in a very good way. And I definitely would want to see a lot more of them come back.
You ready to rock and roll on one of the big boy shows?
How about say, yep, let me get my big notes out here ready for Joey Janela's Spring Break. Yes, this is going to be a little deep dive here. So, yeah, I'm ready.
Get ready. Okay, you want to go first? You want me to go first here? We can kind of, I mean, do you have single match notes on this one, or just overalls kind of thing? All right, I'll kick it off here. I'll kick it off here with number 1. I'm just going to put on here Suzuki and Tanaka. That team together felt special. I do wish Rina defended her belt on this big stage, but I also understand and agree with the decision to have her in this opening match. That's what I got on this one. What you got, brother?
I kind of feel the same way. I'll talk about it more later. I would kind of wish that Ultraviolet title would have been defended somehow, some way during this week. It just feels weird that she's not out defending that title, but we've talked about that in the past. I thought that was a great opening match for Joey Janela's Spring Break, and it's just so surreal seeing Suzuki and Tanaka team up against Masha and Rina. And yeah, they delivered. And Masha and Rina, I'm kind of glad they got the spotlight after everything they've done for GCW over the last year since last year's collective and main eventing Korakuen Hall and stuff like that. That was cool seeing them get this big matchup with two Japanese legends. And I was so cool seeing Tanaka come back and look in incredible shape, and Suzuki just having fun out there with Tanaka and the girls was fun.
All right, on to match 2 here. I have the Northeast West Express. I have a creative name for an outstanding team. Warm feeling seeing Jordan and Wayne back together again. Speedball just makes it sweeter.
Yeah, I was kind of happy Speedball too kind of let them get this, like, have their moment and stuff. He didn't try to like get in the middle. He knew Jordan and Nick being back with the fans would love to see it, and seeing them tag up was cool. I loved during the beginning of the match, Jordan flipping the water bottle while Kerry was cutting a promo, getting told shut the fuck up. Jordan just being on in a GCW ring having fun just felt right. And later on during the match, Rock and Roll turning on Kerry was a fun little twist to the match that added, I think, a cool little moment at the end.
Yeah, Rock and Roll forever. I enjoyed seeing Robert and Ricky. They've never changed, all for the better. Robert's involvement in the match was minimal. I understand he's primarily retired. My last note here, I'm a big fan of Kerry. I think he's fantastic. I wrote here, he's a future star in the making. He understands heel work. He would do well in working within the WWE system. I think he's got good looks and a solid foundation for success. So that's what I wrote on that match. Do you got anything on this one?
No, just everything I said. I enjoyed Kerry and Robert getting sick of Kerry's shit and then turning on him. I thought that was a cool little fun twist. And to this matchup, I wasn't expecting great in-ring action, but anytime we get to see Kerry Martin do a destroyer, I have to pop on that one.
So the next match then, Team Dragon Gate versus Team, I believe it was Reiwa New Generation. Extremely satisfying. Every competitor was a gifted wrestler. Dragon Gate rules allow a new teammate to enter the ring if the legal wrestler leaves the ring. I like that. It's like modified lucha rules a little bit. You know, you can just jump in there if you need to, but yeah, one goes out, another competitor has to come in and keep the fight going. I like that idea. What you thinking?
Especially during a 6-way, I definitely like it because, yeah, you could always not just have the next person just come in and it's kind of revolving. Now you got more bodies going around, and that causes a lot more chaos and a lot more opportunity for cool little spots. So I do like that rule because it does keep the action moving. And I thought that was just a good showcase match for the Dragon Gate promotion on this card, because I think they also provided a very cool and different dynamic to every single match that they were in. I actually kind of wanted now after the whole collective was over. I think they could have taken out one of those GCW TJPW matches or cards and put it in a Dragon Gate card, because I think they offer a unique stylistic difference and just like every other promotion that happened here. So I do love seeing them get that spotlight during especially Joey Janela Spring Break.
And we didn't see a lot of lucha at some point. I'm going to ask Brett if, the visa situation is why maybe we don't see many luchas in this one, or if it's a little bit of a focus more towards Japan right now, because I don't know either way. But I am curious because I'm a lucha guy. So I don't know. Do you know anything?
I think I read that they were having problems with a lot of the visas out there in Mexico, especially right before this weekend. I know there a lot of talk of like the CMLL. So I think there were supposed to be a lot of CMLL wrestlers out in Philadelphia for this weekend too, but not a lot of them were able to cross over. So I think, yeah, it was a big visa issue. I'm the same way. Yeah, like I wanted to see a lot more lucha on this stuff, but I'm excited. So at least we get lucha on Cinco de Mayo coming up here soon.
All right, so here we go with the Grab the Brass ring match. So there was a lot of youth in this match. We had Leon Slater, Cole Radrick, Arez, Egg LeBlanc, Myron Reed, your dude, Mr. Danger, Marcus Mathers, and Alec Price. Now let's talk about this for a second. The brass ring can be used to challenge any belt. So if like Alec or Cole win, they could challenge for the tag team championship. So this is the same situation for like Leon Slater and Boisterous Behavior. So this could get very interesting. So the final surprise entrant ended up being Microman. The micro spinning ladder spot was hilarious. I did not expect it. People who were non-wrestling fans at my house at the time lost their shit laughing. Mr. Danger's Jeff Hardy callback on the top of the ladder. I have to say, Mr. Danger's grown on me a lot. I think he's the fucking man with those dives. I was surprised that 2 multi-man matches were booked back to back. That's a lot of excitement. But again, I'm sure there are reasons. A ton of innovation, many incredible spots with the ladders. Cole Radrick for the win. I watched this late. I lost my shit as quietly as I could. But yeah, we kind of laugh about it. Oh, hey, I hope you saw the spoilers or whatever. Honestly, that's just how it came out. There was no planned anything, but yeah, I just know that he alluded to, hey, maybe one day Garbage Daddies will get a shot and maybe be tag team champions, and this is one step to it. So I'm like, oh man, how cool is that synced up like it did? So you never know. A lot of these guys walk in the building and Brett goes, you know what? You're champions now. So it happens. You never know. But I just want to be clear. It's not like we sat around going, what should we put in? No, just within conversation. If you listen really carefully, some cool things came out of there, and we didn't give away the WrestleMania main event or anything. So
I'll be honest, I was shocked. I said, holy shit, Cole won. Like, I knew you were probably happy as hell. I was shocked. Like, legit. I didn't think he would win. I was kind of hoping one of them, him or Alec, would win, but I was thinking someone else was going to win. I think that ladder match was catered to us with all that talent that was in there. That's all the talent that we put over all the time and everything. So I love all the competitors. Too, huh? And that's my first note. Ladder match was absolutely catered to us. I loved all the competitors, and I'm going to piggyback off what you said with Veda. I liked how Ortiz and the winner can use it as a tag match for the Garbage Daddies. And this was before, obviously, I even knew that Ratty won. So I was shocked at the end when that happened. And I thought that's cool. It opens up where if Cole wants to get ultraviolet one day, he can. If he wants to go for the world title, he can. If he wants to be tag champs with Alec Price, he can. I thought that was a cool statement and a cool little tease to kind of what would happen at the end. But yeah, Mike and I wrote the same thing. Microman in the micro ladder spot was awesome. And I don't know, was this the one where Mr. Danger was like in the corner on top of the ladder and Agile did like that crazy handstand and like did a not a hurricane rana, but like grabbed him by the legs and tossed him outside, and like Danger landed like
that was the clusterfuck. That wasn't they eliminated themselves.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So Danger went up, and then Van Gogh got on the thing, and then he went upside down. Like, this is such ballsy stuff that he's doing. Upside down on that fucking ladder attached to him, and they both went boom, boom off. And yeah, that was
that was a crazy
incredible
spot. That ladder match was awesome, though. I loved all the teases. I loved all the surprises. And yeah, for a grab the brass ring, that was awesome. And another staple of Joey Janela Spring Break. And I'm glad they're keeping it there, because I know a lot of people kind of don't like the Money in the Bank concept and all that stuff, but I am a giant fan with it because all the chaos it could always cause. And it's always, there's a backup plan. If something happens, you have a backup that's right there and it makes sense booking wise. And knowing me, I'm all about making sense booking wise. So I was glad to see Cole, and I'm very interested what happens with Cole in that brass ring.
I'm just big on the fact that a brass ring can create a little bit of creative freedom in an emergency. You know what I mean? Something happens. Guess what? Yes. Ding, ding. You're going in, buddy. And that's just how it is. And we'll fix the mess when we have time to think later. Anyway,
that's how I love that.
I really do feel, and this is just me talking, I really do feel before Jacob Fatu was kind of picked up that the South Pacific Savages, or I guess it's just Jacob and Zilla Fatu, I think they would have been great contenders and possibly tag team champions. And now that it doesn't look like it's going to go that way, Garbage Daddies would be probably a great choice for some face tag team. It's just, they had electric with East West. They have something just as electric, but a different flavor with these two. So it's just different.
I don't think they booked the Garbage Daddies as well as they did East West Express to elevate them to that status. Because, like I said, when we first couple matches of Garbage, I'm pretty sure they lost, and like we were complaining. It's like this is a fun, like fan favorite tag team. Why are they taking the L's all the time? And like now, this is a way to jumpstart them. In my mind, like I hate when they just random people or someone off 3-4 losses gets the next title match. So this now could jump them up above everybody there, and hopefully they can get that title shot with it. But I just feel like the Garbage Daddies could have been booked a little bit better to have a little bit more momentum as East West Express. You felt the build up there, and like for the Garbage Daddies, I think just now they were starting to get that momentum going and start building up the tag ranks. Where when they first started, I definitely wasn't feeling that, even though I loved them as a tag team. I just felt the booking wasn't on their favor in their side.
Yeah, I wonder. Okay, so for me, I like the build, and I do see what you were saying. You were saying when they first came out and came together, I wonder if it was on purpose for them to have a long-term thing when they first got together, or was it like a situation with Sam Stackhouse where, you know, he just got with Fuego and it just clicked one night. I don't know, but I know that the minute they're having a chance to give him a storyline right now, I'll take it, because they just basically got set right on the front porch of their house. And they're like, dude, anytime you want to just open the door, come on in and let's see what happens. So I'm just happy we got that, because I didn't expect Cole coming out with anything different, because I didn't see any matches where he could challenge for a title. So here we are, and I'll take it.
I think that's what we've said in the past. Was like it didn't seem like they had anything like storyline or something like moving forward to, so they kind of just felt like they put them together.
Yeah.
But like I'd rather them be together as a tag team if that's going to give them a purpose and start building up. Because Alec was like, we were talking right there. Alec was on like after that JCW tournament, it kind of felt like boom, we haven't seen him in a long while other than these random scrambles. So and he had a lot of momentum going into there. So I'm the same way. If you're not going to put one of their use them as singles in a creative, good way, and like for a purpose, put them together as a tag team and let them create magic on their as a team on their own, and kind of force themselves to be booked. And I think that is kind of what's happening, and I'm glad to see it because everybody loves them, and we're giant fans, and they just bring so much, and they're at every single show too. So I'm glad they are. Hopefully, we'll get a tag title match soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, these guys are like crackers and cheese. It's like they're equally different, but when they're put together, it's like just an awesome mix. One's got the salt, one's got the savor. Like it just works, and I'm fat, so I'm hungry. So that's how that came out of my mouth. On to Deathmatch Royalty. They enter the arena on a throne built for two. Jimmy walks ahead of them. Blue Cane / Blue Pain comes out to blue lights and snow falling from the sky. I like that a lot. Kane rolls Lloyd in a wheelchair off the stage and through a table. Complete callback to Cardona's spot on Raw with WWE's Kane. Cardona hits SDL with an urn full of blue ashes. Lloyd comes back with a neck brace, throws a fireball at Kane, and I thought he fucking caught Kane's hair on fire. Very interesting. The guy with the largest reach on social media and the most popularity wasn't in a higher profile spot. And that's what I have to say about that match.
Especially after showing up on Impact and AEW within a week, right before the
Bingo.
collective. Yeah, I definitely didn't. I think this was him just being happy. Like, hey, this is probably a big match he wanted to complete his story, and that's kind of the story. Everything went into it. This was everything I expected it to be, and I was glad that it happened in the way it happened. And getting Jimmy in there and getting him the little spotlight during that match, I thought was a cool little thing as well.
There's reasons for everything. So, we'll look at it this way. You got the GCW World Championship to close that show, and then you've got Mance versus Effie. Like, do you really need to be, higher up the card? But slap right in the middle. But I mean, it works like, if you're going to have a card put together, you can't just have two great bookends and then matches 2 through 7 are fucking slop. So, you get some stuff in the middle there. It works out for the better. Match number 7, Amazing Red versus Gringo Loco. I put here that was a more mature match than usual for Gringo. It was slowed down just a touch. It was more 90s to 2000s style. He could have had only this kind of match with Red. I can't put my finger on what makes it unique or different, but it was really good.
Yeah, after all the bullshit that Gringo had to go through with all the names that were either getting taken off or injury or whatever. I'm glad to see him kind of get a big spotlight match still on Joey Janela Spring Break, and yeah, against Amazing Red. And if that was one of the heroes he looked to growing up, and as creative as Amazing Red is, and how good and creative Gringo is now, they had a very good match. And yeah, it did feel a little bit differently paced, but I think after all the matches Gringo had as well this weekend, this was a nice change of pace for him, but it worked out very well with Amazing Red. And they put on a nice, solid match, just considering all the circumstances that led up to this match. And I was kind of glad, very glad that Gringo got to still stay on the card with a prominent match up against a real hot, pretty high profile name.
All right. So on to Mance versus Effie. I wrote here that it feels big before it even starts. Effie comes out with a full beard. He has the new Effie's Big Gay Brunch 9 shirt that was made especially for Collective. I wrote here that I hope Effie never loses the weight he's gained. In my opinion, he looks much better this way, more wrestler-like, and definitely more formidable than before. My thoughts on Mance: he's really at his peak right now, especially at this show. It's working so well for him. It's digging in with the fans. The whole match, you can hear "fuck you, Mance" over and over coming from random areas. They're buying into it. Everything he's doing is just clicking on all cylinders. It's a fantastic sign that what Mance is doing, even with the smart fans, is got him a little pissed off for all the right reasons. Effie threw several doors and chairs into the ring. They almost all hit Mance, so I thought that was a cool little spot. Perch's belt was used as a weapon mid-match. Mance threatened to attack Ali with a drill, and it's not my favorite, but that gives me hope that the story continues. But Effie quit, so that that hurts as an Effie fan. But again, I don't think necessarily the story's over. We haven't had a finality of it just yet.
That's what. No, I agree. That's what it feels like to me. I loved this match. It was violent. It had everything. The intensity was there. The story was there. The fans were definitely all over Mance. And I was the same way. Like, I think the ending is smart because it didn't. If it's not going to end, I think it was smart because it still keeps Effie looking strong and keeps Mance obviously with the momentum and being the bully and getting Ali catch out there causing some more chaos. Yeah, I feel like the story is going to go. I thought this would have been it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go. Like after the first match, I was like, whoa, where do you go from there? And they just keep on going and getting crazier and crazier. So I am just going to ride this train and see where it goes because they are telling a fun and intriguing story, and it's definitely getting the fans into it. And I was actually really thinking there Ali was going to turn and just tired of. I think like I was thinking like Ali's going to turn on both of them and just beat the shit out of him. She's going to become the star of this feud. She's just tired of everybody. But her being used as a pawn to get Effie to quit makes sense, and it keeps Effie strong, and it definitely keeps everything open for another possible match between the two coming up.
I would so touch on this subject another 10 minutes if I could. On to our next match, Maki Death Kill versus Danhausen and Ram Kaicho. I wrote down here that it was a little bloody. It was more about star power and entertainment. We weren't really seeing much of a wrestling match. It was more like, hey, we have Danhausen here. Hey, we have Ram Kaicho here. So that's what we ended up getting into here. There was, we weren't burning the barn down with toe holds.
My big takeaway is, God damn, Gage looks good. He looks really good, in shape. He's flying around the ring. Well, later on I'll get to it, but man, this is like one of the best Gages I've seen, and I'm kind of glad because, like I said, when I started getting into GCW is when I kind of think Gage was the injuries and all of his career was catching up to him, so I kind of saw the slowdown, but it was still ultra violent, crazy. But now I'm seeing an in shape Nick Gage, and he looks really, really good. And that was my main takeaway throughout this whole match was Gage looks like he's ready to take his company back.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it. I'd like to see that come too. There's a lot going on right now. And Blake is now the big bad guy. It's kind of cool. We can throw faces at him all day long, and that could really play with our emotions. That's another story maybe for another day. our final match of the evening. This was the GCW World Championship match. We had Blake Christian with Shane Mercer versus Joey Janela with Missy Hyatt and the Gucci bag. So Janela comes out in an awesome fur coat and this new gear inspired by Rocky. It's awesome stars and stripes. I really like the look of it all, especially with the fur coat. His shin pads looked new. So he also had a lot of extra blonde in his hair. I honestly thought he was going to bag this fucking win. You kind of saw what I was seeing, right? Like he came out like $1 million. This is his show.
Yep.
So
yeah, I thought the same way. The way he came out and the presentation, I'm the same way. Yeah.
Blake Christian looks awesome tonight. He's head to toe in white and gold, all heat on his pants. His grown out hair and mustache makes him look more mature. And I don't know, but for some reason it makes the championship a little more legit when it looks more like a mature. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. My overall, just watch it. They have a war. A fantastic story by everyone involved. Missy Hyatt heel turn that's been an open secret for months. Because on Twitter, Missy's basically been trashing Blake for what, 4 or 5 months easy. And it all led up to that fucking turn. Now that was genius, or they figured it out in the last couple days and went with it.
All right. Here's my first negative of the whole collective.
Oh,
I
you were
hated
okay.
that ending. It didn't make any sense to me. And then there was no like Mance coming out, no Cole, no nothing. The match was awesome. It did very well. The teases were there. The crowd was into it. It was awesome match. I hated the booking because to me, like I said, maybe I just missed the whole Missy Hyatt thing on Twitter. I don't follow her or anything, so maybe I just missed like the obvious that he was going to turn. He turned. I said like right away, like that. I hated that booking. I'm sorry. Like personally, it didn't make any sense to me. Like I don't know. I don't think she should have been involved at all, especially if that was going to be it. I don't know. Like they could have done something with Mercer to make him a little bit more credible as a heater for Blake than it did Missy. I don't know. I just didn't like the ending. I feel like out of all the cool things they could have done with all the possibilities and everything out there, all the money in the banks, brass rings and everything else, I did not like that ending at all. I hate to poo-poo on Joey Janela's spring break. Like I just left the bad taste in my mouth over the main event of that one. I loved everything about it. I just hated the ending. Even if he would have won some other way, even maybe I would, or Blake would have won some other way, maybe I would have liked it, but I don't know. I just wish they would have progressed some stories. Like I just felt like there was nothing progressed here. Like nothing. Like okay, Blake's champion, and we had all these possibilities, all these cool things we could have done this weekend, and nothing was done, in my opinion. So that was just I don't know. I didn't like it at all, and it left a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm hoping it just goes to a further story because we may end up seeing this go further with him and Joey. It's very possible. I'm curious about Missy Hyatt being in anything more or not. I think that was kind of more like a small series deal there. Not 100%, but they spent a lot of money to have her as the Swerve. So, hey, but I think she did a fantastic job. The lady's been around forever. She's, a staple of the hardcore / independent industry. So that's how I look at it, is my fingers crossed that this story continues and builds. But if there was a time, there was a lot of continues more than there were endings on such a big show. I will say that. So fingers crossed it goes into more continuity down the road.
I agree with you. I don't mind Missy getting the spotlight, being ECW and all that stuff and everything else that she's done for the thing. I get that. I just didn't like how she was involved in this ending in that way. Like I said, maybe that's just me missing everything on Twitter. I guess like I didn't feel any sort of turn coming at all. Like, and to me, it just didn't make any sense.
It hit you.
I don't know.
The heel work. The heel work happened. The heel work worked, didn't it? Pissed you off, didn't it?
It's not even the heel work. It's the progression. Like as you said, I view WrestleMania and Collective, like especially with everything, a time to end stuff and start new stuff coming up. Like this just felt like, nope, a normal show, and we're just going to move on to the next one. There was no, like, no, as we said, no ultraviolet title defense at all, no extreme title defense at all. One tag match, and that fucking rolled and awesome. We'll get to that later. And the world title match where you had all these different cool possibilities. Like, man, we were talking about, oh, Joey wins, and then Mance comes out, and then Effie comes out. Like, that's like what happened on WrestleMania. That's our Taker and John Cena and The Rock out there. Like, they could have done something fucking awesome like that in GCW. They just kind of went to the same old Blake shit. And then this is not, once again, not a shit on Blake. It's the booking of Blake. I didn't like it. There were so many cool possibilities that could have been done. But even like one of those things could have been a cool moment and made sense and then continued the story or went on. Like, none of it happened. And I'm just frustrated on that. But as you said, that's the heat. But it's not even the heat on Blake. I don't mind him, the champion. To me, that booking didn't make sense.
I know what you're saying. What you're saying is it's unsatisfactory the way it went because it was abrupt and I don't know. I don't have a better word for it, but I understand what you're saying for sure. I would have liked a different ending, but goddamn, that swerve hurt. It actually hurt. I was really surprised by it, but yeah, generally it's all about everything wrapping up at the big shows. And then the next show you start all the new things. So yeah, I find it very interesting. And then with this show, both of the major cards ended negatively. So the fans didn't really have much to cheer for on the two bigger matches on the card. That's my only real complaint, because otherwise I'm like, that was a big fucking show and they put a lot into it. So yeah, yeah, I have a deep conversation for another day that I just don't have time for yet, but I see an interesting point on what you're saying there. My side of it is the ones I explained, just the two bigger shows. Maybe one of them could have come out for the good guys. So again, we don't know what will happen. All right. So we covered that one here. GCW for the Culture. That was midnight that night. I was already emotionally spent, and this was a pretty good show. What'd you think about this one?
I loved it. I love seeing a lot of the new names. I feel a little bit the star power wasn't there as well as it was last year, but I love seeing a lot of the new names that they brought in, and some of these names haven't been on GCW, so I was happy to see them. And the in-ring was awesome, and I loved how they kind of had their own little stories kind of going on outside of what the GCW really is. It was their own show, but we got to see like some online kind of Twitter beefs and kind of stuff that they've been kind of promoting happening. And I thought that was kind of cool, because me not seeing a lot of these wrestlers outside of GCW, but I know a lot of the names because I follow them on Twitter and stuff, and I see some of their matches here and there, clips. It was just kind of cool seeing them continue what was being built outside of GCW happening on GCW programming for fans like me to finally get to see some closure to some of this stuff.
J Rose in the ring to announce for the night. I always love his energy. You're a J Rose fan too, right? Like, kid's just cool.
Yes.
Love him.
I love him. Yeah.
I love the concept of promoting and showcasing the culture, putting some performers with less exposure in front of new eyes and giving the veterans in the business a time in the spotlight. That's, I think, the best way that I could kind of put into words what I feel this really does mean. Anything you want to say before we get into the matches here? Any observations?
You said it perfectly. All that time I spent saying all that blah, blah, blah. You said that what you just said was exactly the way better way to put it. That's what I was trying to say. It was cool seeing new names while giving established names the spotlight still.
I repeated you then. It happens.
In a way better way.
I was trying to keep myself busy, and I've been writing. That's why a lot of what people are hearing now are more written down for right now. It just helps me keep my thoughts together, and then I'm able to say something a little more clear, because between stuttering and being too damn dumb to read properly, we'll figure it out together. Team Dalla had a sick team of all types of talents. We had Tankman versus Dalla. That was cool to see. Isaiah Broner just made it better. That was our meet. Devin Monroe I have to say has upgraded everything since last year. New gear, you name it. He's faster, moves are crisper, overall improved quality. That's what I have to say about match 1.
I actually think that could have been like the main event if it wasn't the main event having such a giant story behind it and everything how it played out. I really thought that all the talent in that first match that could have been the main event because that was like the big match last year. I like the team East Coast versus West Coast. Like that was all the talent, but there was just so much chaos and stuff. And in this match, it was more instead of the high flyers like how it was last year, it was the more beefy, meaty, strong powerhouse wrestlers. And I love seeing it. As you said, Tankman versus Dollar was a real spotlight, and I want to see a one-on-one match with that because that would be money there.
Oh, you know what? I'm in. That's yeah, I didn't even think about that, but I would 100% watch that. Oh, yeah, when they faced off, it was beautiful. Okay. Now this one was a little crazy. On to the second match, the 4-way tag. I realized we got some serious height in this show so far. By match 2, we got 6-footers all over the place. We had some real drama before the bell rang. I just wanted to mention it. Jay Bougie from the Killionaires was mean mugging one of the members of main event from beginning to end. There was some shit that just went down right in front of the two ladies, Juicy. What was it? Thick and Juicy. They handled it the best though. They came in like mamas who've seen this shit 1,000 times before. They calmed down Jordan Blade after Jordan lost their shit on Bougie. I heard Smooth say something on my mama. It's never good when someone's swearing on their mama at someone. Brooke Valentine had to stop the match and tell him to shut the fuck up. He was just disrespectful. The ring was cut in half by Thick and Juicy and the Kings of the District. They wanted nothing to do with the two other teams. Eventually, those two teams that were arguing though got in the ring. They came center face to face. The fans were kind of a little, you could feel the static on that one, but their exchange was strong and fully professional. But my read is that Bougie was being overly aggressive. Misunderstandings happen, be it one way or another. My recommendation is handle that shit backstage. That's what I have to say about match 2, my friend. Oh, I think you
I was
muted.
unmuted. There we go. Yeah, my bad. I actually didn't mind all the tension in that match. I think that just added like more to the environment and like what was going on. I loved like how there seemed to be tension all over the place and they just wanted to get in there and finish it. But I enjoyed everything. And I learned of the new main event tag team. I didn't know about them. So I have to go check them out too, because being fans of the other main event, I definitely have to check this out. And like they were good. The Killionaires, I did enjoy them, and seeing Pretty Boy Smooth in there was awesome. He's just so towering, man. Like he's a menacing force, and I loved it. I love this match just felt real. Like the realism was there, and I liked feeling the tension there.
Dude, I'm a fat guy again. I saw PB Smooth and I thought peanut butter. Dude, smooth peanut butter, bro. Okay, anyway, I'm just saying. Okay, so just jumping on, and it's nothing bad. It's just my fat ass, you know. I really did like the main event. I would like to see main event back. And shut up, I'm trying to be serious over here. I also okay, you can laugh. Thick and Juicy, I thought they were awesome. I'd actually like to see them back again. They have a really sunny, happy disposition, and something about them is just fun. I can't put my finger on it, but I wouldn't want to fuck with them. So I don't know. Anything else you could take from this match? Sure. I don't know.
Nah, I said what I needed to say. Like I said, it felt, I like, even though it wasn't just, I like the brawling, just like, hey, we're also going to just go at each other. And I loved how it felt different than let's lock up and do moves. Like, no, let's just get in there and like, I fucking hate you. I hate you. We're going to settle this shit right now. And that felt good, like for a different, good pacing for how the whole collective has been up until this point.
Good point there. Next, we have Man Like Doris, holy shit, versus Sunny Kiss. I wrote here that it was as good as I expected and then some. I actually felt a little off after the last match, so I'm happy we settled back into entertainment. That's what I have to say about that one.
Yeah, glad to see Sunny Kiss in a ring and against Man Like Doris. At first, I didn't know how this match was going to go, but Sunny definitely held their own in the ring. And like, yeah, Man Like Doris was awesome. I'm kind of glad he got this match against a bigger name in Sunny Kiss. And It was nice. I just was happy to see Sunny Kiss back in the ring because I really haven't seen them much since they left AEW. I think they left AEW, or maybe like they're still there. I just feel like I haven't seen them in forever. So it was nice seeing them again.
No, they're strictly independent right now, I believe.
Okay,
They were let go
that's what I
from
thought. But
AEW 3-4 months ago, maybe. Yeah.
yeah, I felt like something. I thought I read something like that, but with everything going on, I forget a lot of stuff.
Me too, bro. Me too. On to the women's scramble. I wanted to mention in here Maserati. She is a local Las Vegas wrestler. I will tell you, she's smart and she is absolutely fun to listen to, even as a heel. If you ever have a chance to, she is funny as hell. She's one of those ones that if you're live and ringside, pay attention. I have Jocelyn Navarro, deceptively athletic and impressive. I enjoyed the 6-way suplex that went down. And I will say that each woman pulled off their own set of impressive moves that definitely justified their spot in this match. Overall, great match.
Sorry, I was actually clicked on some. Yeah, I was happy to see Maserati in there because like usually we only see her kind of working locally, but whenever she does get these bigger shows and bigger spotlights, she always delivers. And I thought just the concept of a women's scramble was new and different and fun, and they all delivered. It felt like a good scramble match, and I wouldn't mind seeing like the more women kind of just being involved and having their own scramble match. I thought was a cool idea and something that we haven't seen before.
All right, so I'm going to go to my last three because my last three matches, like my notes are super short. Jossie pulling off the upset on Too Cold Scorpio shocked fans, shocked me. Fans didn't like it very much. My personal opinion, I think it's fucking wonderful because Jaw goes over. Too Cold Scorpio loses nothing in this match whatsoever. Most people are happy to just see him in the ring. Shug D with a solid defense of the Pan-African World title. And then last, the main event, Carter versus Dixon. I just put that it was solid. I think it was like a 19-minute match. It was somewhere in the teens, close to 20 minutes. And I'm just like, you know what? I had seen a lot of wrestling at this point, so I could tell you it was a good match. Very little stood out that was notable when I had to make these brief notes. So there we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off you. Josh getting the win was awesome and cool to see. He's just so talented, and I'm glad to see him kind of get that spotlight match against Tuco Scorpio, and then getting the win was a surprise, but very well earned and justified. And as you said, does not hurt Too Cold anyway at all. And it was nice seeing Too Cold back in the ring, and we're gonna see him coming up, I think in LA, right? Against Joey Janela, they announced today, I believe. So that's exciting to see.
Yeah, they switched that up. We'll see how that goes. The LA card is looking good, by the way, little by little.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Seeing Alex Kane in GCW or just in the For the Culture ring was awesome. Against Shug D too, we get to see more of the series version of Shug D and Alex Kane. That was a good match, title match, and I think Alex Kane too is another breakout star. I would definitely want to see him a lot more. Just not just in MLW, but kind of all over the place. I think he's right there to kind of take the next step, and it was cool to see him. And then, yeah, the main event just was an awesome story with Carter, Dixon, and Darius Lockhart. I loved everything about it. It was cool. Those three just have a story going on, and it's been bleeding throughout all these For the Cultures. And it was kind of cool seeing, like, I don't know, I'm going to say the same thing when we get to Effie's thing. It feels like For the Cultures, like, kind of building like its own little brand and stories and stuff, where it could be like its own little separate entity and kind of do a lot of cool things outside just Collective Weekend. And it is cool though to see them all kind of get together and do all these cool things under the For the Culture show on the Collective Weekend. And it was a very good show. I think last year was more in ring, was way better, I believe, and a lot more high flying. I like the high flying flippy stuff, but this one was just like strong, powerful, and we're going to tell good stories and get a lot of emotions in. And that's what this For the Culture did. And like I said, that ending was a perfect way to end that show.
I like it. You ready to roll on to the next big one here? We got Effie's Big Gay Brunch 9. Oh boy, this was something else. This was the first show of day 3. Correct? Yeah, day 3. Big Gay Brunch has become a career goal for many talents from all over the world. Again, this show sold out without a match even being announced. Show begins. Effie comes out, talks about all the previous Big Gay Brunches. Then this got me. He said he's going away for a while. Says his head hurts. So I'm guessing he just needs some time to relax and get himself healed up so he can go on to the next chapter here. We over here at Game Changer Weekly wish the most comfortable of healings until he's ready to come back. It threw off a lot of the show for me. I'm just generally concerned. You and I both yeah, you get to know these guys a little bit and then you hear, hey, I'm not doing too well. And I never like to hear that. So I'm just hoping it's just maybe he has a little something he has to do with filming or recording, and that's exciting. But if he has to rest up and he needs it, well, then, I mean, to take less bookings to get yourself back in order, please do it because it's important, very important to take care of your health, mental or physical.
And he's going nonstop. He's on every show. He's doing his Twitch on Monday nights. He's got not just like before it was just like collective big gay brunches. Now it's like it's its own thing. They've done like shows outside and outside of like the GCW weekend and by itself and in other parts of in other countries. So yeah, he's been working his ass off, and I can kind of see that. Hey, I needed a little break here, especially after this big ass weekend, just to kind of get the motor back going and get healthier and see a stronger and more mentally well Effie, because with all this Mance Warner stuff, that's probably got to get to him as well.
All right, so I've been watching this next statement to see if I may be wrong or whatnot. I'm just gonna say it because it's been forever. The lady, whoever the announcer is, that's the lady in the ring, she needs more energy. More. If you're a professional, you need to be louder, projecting your voice. I do know a little bit about this. It lacks energy, and anybody who hears it can figure it out pretty quickly. So if you get a chance, put a little oomph behind that, because otherwise it's like, hey, here we are, we're out here, da da da. It's no. You can hire a 16-year-old kid to come off of the, out of the fans and just boom and take it. I just knocked over my water. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. My next note, Karam's butt hanging out. Next note, Effie turning Dirty Breeze gay. Ali got handcuffed and Effie ended up passing out from his kiss. The 10-person tag, Team Pero versus Team Pollo, was super good. Vert suplexing Pero, Ron Bass Jr. has a killer lariat, and Dylan McQueen helping Team Pero win. My next note, Billy Dixon and Rina Yamashita was a decent match. Dark Sheik and Sunny Kiss, their first match against each other was really, really good. They need to run it back again. They gelled so well together. I want to see how much better it could get if they had a few more matches underneath them. So that is what I have to say about Big Gay Brunch 9.
My big takeaway from Big Gay Brunch 9, and also later on when we get there, Pero was a standout all weekend long. He delivered, and I was kind of glad that he got the special Team Pero versus Team Pollo match and got to kind of be the spotlight there. But he was awesome the entire time. It was nice seeing a lot of the new names for Big Gay Brunch, and as well, I kind of just a lot of similarities between this card and For the Culture. It has like its own little feel. They feel like its own little promotion. It's has its own little rivalries, and it was fun as the Big Gay Brunches always are. But I felt like a lot more tension as well throughout these cards, and seeing a couple of names that we haven't seen them all. Dylan McQueen was kind of awesome seeing, because I think didn't he kind of say that he was going to retire or take a break from wrestling too for a minute, and now he's back. It was nice to see. And yeah, Dark Sheik versus Sunny Kiss, once again Sunny Kiss getting the main events of this card, and Dark Sheik having the match against Dark Sheik was awesome, and they delivered as a main event. And I just loved everything about Big Gay Brunch too, and it felt like its own little thing, and I kind of like how it's doesn't need a different banner to kind of carry its own weight and own card. It is its own little entity, and it's been awesome to see it grow.
I almost feel guilty that I didn't mention how important Pero was this entire weekend. You hit it right on the nose there. I didn't even think about it until now, but that dude was an anchor in quite a few matches, and I think he deserves it. Sometimes he just goes out there and he has to stand and walk around the ring. He gets a spot or two, and that's it. And he's more than that. And I'm really happy to see that more was entrusted in him minute wise. Definitely.
Yeah, I've been dying to see the Monster Pero come out, and this is what we got all weekend, and I loved it. No really shenanigans. He just stayed his tough big ass wall of muscle that he is, and I loved that he kind of got the spotlight because, as you said, he's been kind of in the background lately, but this weekend he was definitely in the forefront all the time, a lot of the time.
All right, so this is where I get back to my confession. GCW versus TJPW. Unfortunately, it's our second show, but I did not catch it. So again, I'm so sorry. I worked my ass off. Brant, you worked your ass off, but I just couldn't make that one show. I got everything else. So do you have anything to say about this one, or should we go on to JJ's Clusterfuck Forever?
I just got a couple notes here. Real fast,
Oh,
seeing
good.
Steph Delander kind of get a one-on-one match was awesome to kind of see because we really don't really get to see her wrestle in too many matches. So her having a little 8-minute match was good. The main event though was I think the spotlight between Maki, Masha, and Rina, and then Miyu, Masha, Nakajima, and I think it's Ayano was awesome. It was 20 minutes. It was like I said, the TJPW talent came out and they showed why they are its own promotion and how strong they are to carry as big a fandom as they are, especially out in Japan, especially competing against a company like Stardom. I was really impressed of everything Tokyo Joshi Pro did this weekend, and all the talent stepped up, and it was so cool seeing them get different bookings in different companies too, and they delivered every time I saw any one of their talents. Like it was awesome between their presentation, but I like the in-ring stuff. Their in-ring was just amazing and on another level, and it was awesome to see. And especially now getting to work with some of the GCW talents like Dark Sheik, Billy Stark, Shanai Kai, Steph. It was just really cool to see them kind of interact and stuff. But I just really think TJPW definitely put their foot stamp on women's professional wrestling out here in the States.
So I missed a little something, didn't I? I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I completely forgot. Right. You may also have notes.
Okay. No, I just had like that. I just wrote there, but like going back and kind of like just seeing the match and stuff. Like, yeah, that one I watched way late at night, so I didn't take too many notes. But going through the cage match, I kind of quickly got to remember some stuff.
All right, clusterfuck time, buddy. You ready to rock and roll? This is a big one.
Holy cow. What a way to end Collective Weekend, man. Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's go. It was a fun show.
All right, so we'll cover the Tag Team Championship Punjabi Prison match first. That was Violence is Forever, who are our champions, versus Juicy Finale and Zilla Fatu versus the Bollywood Boys versus Los Macizos. Holy mackerel, was that a freaking list. And then I was curious to see how that Punjabi prison was going to be built, and it looked pretty damn good. What were your thoughts on it?
I thought it looked solid. Like, for as good as it was, better than I was expecting. I was expecting a couple little bamboo sticks and not too much stuff. The size of it, and I loved how they were able to break it apart and use it. Like, that was a cool little thing that we didn't really get to see in the first Punjabi prison match. But I loved how this is where GCW finally got ultraviolet, not ultraviolet with the glass and all that stuff, but this is where GCW like, hey, we've kind of starved you guys on some violence and some blood. Boom, this match had it. It was good. I loved the chaos of it. I loved the structure. The structure was awesome. And this was a real impressive feat to pull off. And actually, I enjoyed this better than any other Punjabi prison match I've ever seen. I loved every bit of it. And the Bollywood Boys showed out. I know you tweeted out them, and they killed it during.
We love each other.
Their whole time. Yeah, the whole time at GCW, they've been killing it. So seeing them step up in this Punjabi prison match was awesome. And I have nothing bad to say about it. This was like a perfect remedy for everything I was missing on the GCW shows all Collective Weekend. This was like the first time it felt this is where GCW is different and stood out. And it was wonderful and awesome to see.
Maybe WWE wants our Punjabi prison match. You never know.
If they can make it that extreme, I'd take it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Also, thanks for the listeners that were shooting ringside picks over to me. I had a chance to see a couple picks before it went live, and I appreciate that a lot. After the match where Violence is Forever won, the Garbage Daddies could have cashed in on Violence is Forever. They were beat up pretty bad, but there's a time and place for everything. And I also believe it really does deserve a proper build. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that also.
So I wrote, sucks there was no Jacob. Obviously, once I saw him not being in this match, I just assumed he signed, and that's why we got Juicy. Very nice. If that's the reason to get Juicy on this card, I'm happy for it. I was happy to see Juicy back in GCW. And I wrote, who is going to dethrone Violence is Forever? Because I was thinking the same thing. Like I think the whole thing too with Joey Janela and the Blake Christian, there was no surprises. Like there was nothing that like big pop moments and kind of cool little like that would have been at the end after kind of giving Cole that match. Like I think them coming out, like as you said, I didn't even think about how perfect it would have been. But yeah, Violence is Forever as beat up as you can be. Have them to come out and give the fans a holy shit pop moment for the clusterfuck and a good feel good moment with two fan favorites. I think that was another opportunity missed. And I don't mind Violence is Forever being the champions. I think I said this before, especially seeing all the new tag teams that GCW has been using lately and how as crazy and deep it's been. I don't mind seeing them, but who's going to dethrone them? Like I thought this was the spot. This makes me think that, as we were kind of saying earlier, this might have been Jacob and Killa's spot to or Zilla's spot to to dethrone Violence is Forever and become the tag champions. I know, right? That's like I can't kill them. I was like, oh wait, no, it's yeah, I just don't know who's going to dethrone them now. It's going to be interesting. And now I really hope, as you said, the build. I hope they build the Garbage Daddies up to be credible opponents to dethrone Violence is Forever. But other than that, this tag match was fucking awesome. Bloodshed. This was everything. This exceeded any and all my expectations. And that's the tweet I wanted to kind of quote earlier is what GCW said. This was unexpected and exceeded everything. And I 1000% agree with what they said because it was awesome to see.
For me, I want to say welcome back, Juicy. It had been months. I believe he was in a hospital for a very long time. So just to see him booked and back in the ring is an absolute blessing. Don't know what happened. None of my business. All that I care about is the man is up and working again and able to take care of himself. That's what I'm looking for. All right. One of the Bollywood boys got bloodied badly in this match. You can see him being attended to at ringside at one point. Pics were posted later online show that they were both fucked up. They even scared the doctor a little bit, I guess, which I found out was kind of funny. They put their all into this match. It meant a lot to them, and they represented it to their utmost, in my opinion. I recommend getting on the Bollywood train now. They are putting on a lot of quality work in GCW. That's what I can say as a fan who's watched it, but I see a fantastic future for them. So we'll see what happens. But when it comes to put up or shut up, fucking Bollywood fucking does it. And I can't say enough good things because I have yet to see a shitty match out of them, period. Every one of them has exceeded.
And they get major pops too. Like I just never forget the pop they got at the Defy show. Like that crowd was just on fire for them. And even the show we first saw them debut in GCW, the crowd was all over like for them and cheering them, which is awesome to see because I consider them like that. I did consider them, and they were kind of looked upon as jobbers and managers in WWE. But seeing them kill it as the tag team and in GCW, especially, like I was kind of I think maybe we discussed it, maybe not. Maybe this could be just my thoughts, but we were kind of wondering how their style would fit with GCW, but they went head first that night one, and with the tables and chairs and flying out and fighting in the stands and everything, they just adopted the GCW mentality. They fit right in, and I'm the same way. I really want to see them a lot more in the future because the crowd loved them, and they have been killing it. They deserve it, and it's been really awesome to see. And this match was just another testament to what they've done on the independent scenes by themselves. It's just cool to see those two excel.
Not gonna argue that. Here we go to the main event, the clusterfuck. 87
time out.
Total participants.
We got skip Blake Christian coming out.
Oh my God.
Did you miss that part?
No,
Maybe?
we're not. No. It's just
Oh, okay.
I
Oh, I
don't
didn't see it in
fucking
your
know.
notes there too, so I was like, oh, maybe.
No. You're
It
right.
was a
My
late
dumb ass
night.
just. It was. Anyway.
I mean, we could quickly, Reg. There
Oh
wasn't a lot there.
no,
I just
please.
thought it was
No,
kind of.
please run it down.
So I liked how Christian came out, shitted on the fans, said, "Yeah, you guys thought you were done with me. Ain't happening. Get used to seeing this around my waist." And he's just flinging that thing left and right. And then Joey coming out and beating the shit out of him. That kind of that kind of scares me. I don't want to see Joey and Blake continue on with this stuff. I want to see a new contender for Blake or something new for Blake. I don't want to see Joey still involved with Blake. I would like to see Joey do his own little thing. But that's what kind of scared me with this thing. But it was a perfect setup with Blake laid out in the ring and Mance Warner dragging the ref out to cash in that do or die championship match. And then Effie coming out and beating up Mance. I just thought that was a cool way to save everything that I was mad about the night before.
Right.
Kind of saved it a little bit, but I was really excited. Like, oh, thank God we are going to get a title change and Mance is going to do it. But Effie ruined that, but I don't mind it because even though Effie says he's taking a break, I wonder how that's going to lead up with everything. I was glad to see that kind of all happen and Mance not being able to cash in his title. But I think the anticipation when Mance Warner came out in the crowd, everybody thought that the Mance was going to win. I'm kind of glad that I don't want Mance to be the one to take it off. I think they would actually cheer for Mance, and that would kind of ruin everything that Mance has been building and creating over these last few months with his new character.
Correct.
So I'm glad that Mance didn't do that because even I could sense the fans. Like as soon as even the Mance Warner went away, they're all booing. It's like that's how bad they want a new champion to get off of Blake, get the belt off of Blake. That they were even happy to see Mance Warner do it. But I'm glad they did not do it that way. But I did get my hopes up and totally forgot about all the other bullshit I was crying about the night before. For that little few moments, I was about to erase all my notes as I said and everything. But it was a cool tease, a good very good anticipation building, and then that led us into the clusterfuck, which I kind of enjoyed that little segment there.
You know what? There was 87 participants. They couldn't have done 88. They couldn't. They had Emil. They couldn't have had Lauderdale come out. You know what I mean? Just give me 88. I remember Brett saying on Patreon, though, there was not going to be 88, but to get 87 is still impressive. They could have put Perch in the match.
Right?
Somebody could have went in there.
Referee,
there's enough. Yeah, fuck yeah. Bring him in there. Why not? That would have been funny if the referee that was
go in there.
Prazak would have been perfect too. It would have been funny to call one of the referees while they're working out there. Perch, guess what? You're in the match. And he's just standing out there like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, I'm out. I like it. Yeah. All right. So 87 total participants. I'm just going to go through my notes because that's the only way to do it. Sexy Eddie losing his pants later in the match than usual. He ends up with the fans vibing out to Doris's entrance while holding his junk. We have the Nate Webb sing-along. Tank is singing with CPA's tie around his forehead like Rambo and his shirt, which doesn't fit. Everyone's having fun. Fans are asking for the song again. You ever been to a party when you were like 10 years old and it's like 1 a.m. and everyone's all loopy and kind of that's what that felt like. You know, just
dude, I'd love seeing Tank in that kind of environment. Tank was like awesome. Yes. I had a big giant smile on my face. The Rev being all loud because like when Rev, like I don't even know what he said. He sounded like he made a primal scream, and then him and Tank came out. But it was like it was cool seeing those two get the spotlight again. I took a really liking to him after everything you kind of explained to me during that episode on our podcast talking about Tank. I was very happy to see him. A lot of these names I was shocked to see, and I'll go with my notes too. I'll let you go through your like. I have a lot of like the names too, but it's taking the CPA shirt and just having fun, and that sing along was awesome.
Okay, so I'll go to my next note and I'll throw it back at you. Some notable self-eliminations. We have Mr. Danger and Ariel Van Gogh in a spectacular fashion. That was the one off of the ladder. Spider, Nate, Webb, and Philly Mike just decided it was fuck this shit o'clock Frank the Clown ran off. Sawyer and Casey Catal also felt like they had better things to do. And again, that may not be them all, but that was quite a few. I can't remember if Manders and Kirk just walked off or did they eliminate themselves. So I'm not really sure, but
I think
those are the
they
ones
got
that I could remember.
eliminated.
Oh, did they? Oh, they got
Yeah, I think
eliminated
they
by
got
the ladies.
eliminated by each other's. Yeah, by each other's. The opposite one, and then like you
Okay.
just see them kind of just grab their shoulder, like, ah, what are we gonna do? Like, guess we lost our women for the night. Let's go have some beers and stuff. Manders, just real fast. I know you probably you're gonna say, so I'm not even gonna say it, but we'll talk about Manders.
Go for it, brother. Go for it. You got it.
I was just
I
like,
believe in you.
Was like with Pero. Manders and Pero definitely was like the kind of the all-stars. I think man like Doris was too, but Manders and Pero know a little different way for everything they've been doing for GCW lately. It was cool seeing just them have fun. Manders during that whole sing along. I just loved everything out of him. He was having fun. He was enjoying it. When it was time to kick ass, he did. But seeing him just enjoying himself, having fun, and being out there for that long a time and having the camera always on him was cool because we really been trying to put the spotlight on him and everything. He's been kind of like the unsung leader that I've been kind of thinking since he stepped up with that incident a long time ago. I think it was with Chris Hamrick or somebody. But ever since then, he's shown that he could be a leader of the locker room. He's improved his in-ring work tremendously. He's now wrestling in a lot more different promotions and getting his name out there, wrestling different styles. Like, I hate to say, Wrestling Revolver's doing this SGC breakup gimmick way better than GCW. Like, I know that's sacrilegious to say, but they're about to have a three-way match with Manders, Justice, and Mance. And like Manders just even being a part of that match in a different company is so awesome to see because that company really wasn't using Manders a lot, but they're now using him. I'm glad to see Manders getting his flowers, getting the screen time, and him enjoying himself and having fun with it.
So I'll piggyback off of you. One of my, what I feel like is a solid unsung hero that needs to be paid more attention to overall and all around is Manders. One called Manders is somebody that I have noticed every time he's been put into a position, he's delivered on that. And I know I said it before on another show about someone else, but he's another one. I've watched him unfuck situations before they became real problems just because of his strength. So I'll tell you this much. If you needed someone in the ring to execute something without fucking hurting someone, and you want him to go out there and carry it for a decent amount of time, especially at Manders' age, Manders is the one that I would play the long ball with. Like I said, especially with him in his cowboy character, that play the long game on that because he has a mature character and we're just watching him as young right now. So pay attention. I really do pay attention to Manders because the cat is solid in ring. And I think he's an extremely hard worker. He's got a good smile. He's got a good face to him. He's got a good size to him. He talks like somebody who knows what they're saying. I like the dude a lot, 100% behind him. So I just wanted to mention that because you were mentioning that also. One of my favorite spots was with Manders and Mathers. Mathers was holding onto Manders' legs and he was laying on the ground. Manders started pouring beer into Mathers' mouth and then punched him on the top of the head and just walked off. I thought that was a fantastic little spot. Let's see here. Rina Yamashita was in the clusterfuck for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Pero, 1 hour, 27 minutes. And here we are again. Sleeper, one called Manders, 1 hour and 8 minutes in the clusterfuck. These were the anchors that held the boat in place. So I just wanted to make sure that we give some acknowledgement for them. What you thinking over there, Brant?
No, same way. Yeah, I kind of give Pero and Manders their flowers. I didn't even realize Rena was in for that long. I totally forgot about her being in that long. Like I feel kind of bad. I feel like other than like that one big match she had, even though she was shown around, like I feel like I forgot about her all weekend long. Like that's crazy to think about because like I'm thinking she was on like at least 5 or 6 of these cards that had different matches, but I just feel like she was kind of pushed to the side with everything else that was happening, and that's kind of unfortunate. But maybe that's just her holding on to the belt for so long and nothing really happening and changing, and her just kind of being thrown in these matches. I just felt like I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and rewatch it, but I just feel like I missed a lot or didn't appreciate a lot of what Rena did because it just didn't stick to me with everything that happened. Maybe it's just everything that happened this weekend. I don't know. It's weird.
Me being me, I should have counted how many matches went down this weekend on 11 shows. That's something I should have checked out because yeah, she delivered in every match she was in. I think what was missing was what was missing was the title on the line. It wasn't. So I'm thinking maybe that also, because generally a title match is the cap on something. It's generally something important. So maybe that could be that first match though of the week. I can't remember who she was teaming with, but that was a good match. That's the
Masha.
one I said. Yeah. So I don't know. Um, on to Emil. Emil comes out quietly, gets in the ring. You can see he's kind of looking around all crazy, grabs the microphone. I'm in the clusterfuck, which again was hilarious. There were people at my house that didn't like wrestling. They thought that shit was funny. The crowd popped hard. He leaves the ring immediately and he grabs the mic and goes, I am out of the clusterfuck. That was good. That was really
That
well
was
done.
awesome.
I really appreciated that they're having that much fun with it. And I'd like to know how much ahead of time they thought about that one. You know? I mean, really, did they maybe just go, you're next, bud?
I think he talked about it a little bit on our show of like kind of what if I think we did even mention can we expect to see him in the clusterfuck, but I think I something remember him saying like
Yep.
I'm running out of there. I'm getting the hell out. Like I am not standing in that ring, and that's exactly what he did. I thought
Exactly.
that was cool.
So then we have Rena and Monomoth down there sharing food and watching the match together. I thought that was a cool little cutaway they had for a minute. My next funny one that
How scared
again
Rena
people
was.
yeah, she's just sitting there eating, and then the camera's like, and then they just cut away again real quick. She was enjoying herself down
she
there.
got scared though. Yeah.
It was good. The next favorite little spot I had, Viva Van and Man Like Derice had a little spot. He fell into a corner and you had like Viva getting ready to do like a stink face kind of thing. And Derice is like, oh yeah, come on. Which that was funny alone.
that was the highlight of the
yeah,
weekend
you're
for
going to
me.
let me
That
explain
clip,
this one.
I saw that clip before. I saw that clip before I saw the actual clusterfuck. And oh my God, seeing it actually happen and him barking that was the highlight
Acting
of the weekend,
dead.
man. He was so he's comedic. Oh man, I love man to like to receive him more now. I loved him with his in-ring, his song, his gear, his style, his motion, his everything. But now he's doing like a little comedy bits in there and stuff. Like that's where you're gonna get me is the comedy stuff. And that one was awesome. That was an amazing spot. I loved it. And I was so glad. I was just dying on that one.
Let's see here. Viva Van, 3 spot. We have Pero's choke slam on Oliver. I thought was incredibly rough. Not in a bad way, but just wow. Sawyer comes out as a surprise with a broken wrist, basically a broken hand, left the building together with Casey. That's what we were talking about earlier. Then we had a meetup. We had Pero versus Beastman. Pero goes out for a second. Then it's Beastman versus Sam Stackhouse bouncing his pecs. I don't know if you saw that when he took on his shit. Dries ended up taking out both of them at the same time. I'm just telling you, I hope people are paying attention to Dries. If anybody has watched the GCW Plant podcast, we've been yelling about that motherfucker for like a year or more. So we're really happy to see. The minute we first saw him, we're like, that guy is going to do great at GCW. Gage pulling out the pizza cutter on Yoshihiko was another one that I thought was pretty damn funny. And then I'm going to basically run down the last 3 to 4 minutes of the show. Do you want to say anything before I do this last little play-by-play? Because holy crap.
I gotta talk about the Yoshihiko spot too, because Nick Gage, those final 3, when Gage was slicing Nico, Micro Man did the We19, I don't know what they called it, but like barely it hit Yoshihiko. Like Gage was like, he just like stood up as this, like, what the fuck was that? Like Gage, man, I'm telling you, like Gage looked good. He was having fun with it too. But he's like, I will go to later to the clusterfuck, but those spots was everything I needed to end Collective Weekend. It was funny as shit.
Oh boy. So if people haven't really heard much on Game Changer Weekly, but every now and then I'll do a play-by-play when we have time. And I felt like the clusterfuck was a good time to do that. So relax, grab a drink for a moment. I'm going to basically go through this real quick and hopefully I can paint a picture. But everyone popped hard for the last entrant in the clusterfuck, number 87. That was Microman. So he entered the match. He stood next to Pero and the American Giant, which it was a great visual. Then comes Cheeton to back up Microman. Fans are chanting GCW, GCW. They're going crazy with the matchup that's just been put together in front of them. American Giants then eliminated by Pero, Cheeton, and Microman. Pero with the direct boot into Microman, sending him across the ring. Cheeton signals, bring it on. As Giants walking to the back, he bumps into the next contestant, Mike Bailey, in a blow-up Quebecois fighting chicken costume named Benny. Yes, I said that right. The chicken starts deflating a little when he enters the ring, but it comes back to life. Benny the chicken and Cheeton face off. The Kaiju crew come out and beat up Cheeton. Then out comes Aja Kong and eliminates Cheeton, unfortunately. The Kaiju crew are then eliminated next. She goes over to Benny. He eats a back fist. He's eliminated. Yoshihiko comes out moments later and eliminates Rina Yamashita and then Pero. Pero was dominant up to that point. Yoshihiko and Microman face off. Out comes our final participant, Nick Gage. See, I said final participant earlier. My bad. It's Nick, Yoshi, and Micro now in a triangle in ring. All three are ready to strike, but afraid to be first. Gage pulls out the pizza cutter on Yoshi and starts cutting while Microman delivers a, what did you say, a Wii 1-9? I like that. Yeah. Yoshi was thrown into the crowd and eliminated. We're down to 2 wrestlers. This is the final. Micro has a pizza cutter. He's cutting up Gage. Gage breaks away. Gage places Micro on the top rope and tries to toss him over, but he can't throw him over. Gage is frustrated. He steps back and runs towards Micro into the ropes. Micro falls off the rope and Nick misses and flies over the top rope. Nick is officially out. Micro wins the fucking clusterfuck. My brain broke. I got dizzy and peed myself. Everything I knew about wrestling was bent without breaking. The clusterfuck, this was the point. So point taken.
I loved it. I have a couple of notes, not as in depth as you, but more kind of like some of the names you got to see. Seeing Shane Douglas come out early, one of the first 2 was awesome. I was a giant Shane Douglas fan. I love everything about, but the ECW Shane Douglas, not the Dean Douglas that he was in WWE. But I loved seeing him. I popped. That was a name I was expecting to see in Tommy Dreamer. Seeing him in there, seeing Just Incredible was awesome. And I loved how Shane Douglas stayed in there, actually did some wrestling. He was having fun with it all, and he lasted quite some time in the clusterfuck at the beginning. So I'm glad he wasn't just there like a lot of these other names and just there for the paycheck, get in and out, and boom, go party. I was glad he was in there and did work. Same thing with Tommy Dreamer showing up, and he was having the time of his life too. Like him, like kind of seeing the GCW crowd, kind of like he was like, whoa, this was kind of like reminding me of the old ECW crowd. So I was happy to see him having fun with it. And I was glad to see the clusterfuck utilize all these ECW names, but also all the other names that were just around the area too, that we didn't even see up until this. Literally, the clusterfuck was the first time we saw them all. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I loved all the surprises. I absolutely loved all the talent that they used. This clusterfuck was amazing. It kind of made me a little bit mad that I didn't able to experience the clusterfuck in person last year at the Collective, but I understand you're not going to fit 87 wrestlers in that hallway, back alley at the UC Center. But this clusterfuck made
Could you imagine?
I think. Oh my God, they'd be out in the parking lot. They'd be on the car.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was the best way like to end the Collective weekend. Everybody was smiles. It was fun. It was 2 hours. I forgot however long it was. Like it was like over 2 hours of just fun show, as well as like the beforehand with the ultra violence. And it's not even like counting that part, but just the clusterfuck. I had such a big smile, even just reviewing it. I was in tears or reliving some of these spots and just replaying it in my head and watching it again. That's what I think wrestling is all about. It's just, especially the WrestleMania Collective weekend, get all the wrestling fans together, have fun, celebrate each other, as we saw with everything, with the big game brunch, the For the Culture, the TJPW shows. it's wrestling fans celebrating wrestling fans while also celebrating the love of professional wrestling and the sport of it. And I just think this clusterfuck was like really heartfelt and emotional for me, like just in a very good way. It's like, this is what it feels like to be a wrestling fan. Like, I enjoyed it so much. The whole collective weekend, I enjoyed actually a lot better in-ring action than anything I saw like on WrestleMania and anything. Like, the stories for WrestleMania was awesome, but the in-ring was just shit. I think like some of those things were bad. So I was glad to see GCW just literally showcase different companies, give certain others companies a spotlight while showing what they're truly made out of. And the clusterfuck was literally the like culmination of GCW, I think, and what the collective weekend should be. And now it should always end. I loved it, and I'm glad to see all the fans enjoyed it. And like I said, the clusterfuck was just fun. It was fun. Please, it's worth the $5. If you want to see some fun names, have a fun time, enjoy wrestling, $5. Go watch it on Fight TV. $7 now, whatever it is. Go watch it on Triller TV, not Fight TV no more, and check it out because it was definitely worth it. And while you're there for that month, check out all the other collective stuff. But if you just want a fun time and enjoy wrestling, I think the clusterfuck was it. And I'm like happy it came back. I'm like, I really hope it stays even if it happens to have the UCC Center again, they got to find, doesn't have to be 80 names, bust out 30, 40 names, something like, I just really feel like it was missing last year, and having it showcased this year, I think showed what kind of hole it left last year in the collective weekend.
It's hard to follow what you just said there. It's really well done. Really well said.
I got a little,
yeah. The iconic clusterfuck. It was just, it was the cherry on the sundae for a very successful, at least it seems successful, collective weekend. So holy mackerel, dude, we covered 10 out of 11. We covered 11 shows because you had a review. We covered all the shows on collective weekend in 1 2-hour episode, and we're so sorry we didn't get deep into the details. Brant and I had a very long talk about what shows should be added, how, and the only answer was to just try to hit each show because I didn't want to leave out Progress. We don't want to leave out DDT. You don't want to leave out Effie's Big Gay Brunch. You don't want to leave out For the Culture. It's like they're all equally strong, but there's a couple who rise above. And I'm like, you know what? We want to make sure we at least give the ones who needed attention, and then we also give the ones who may not get as much exposure attention, because the reason why TJPW, For the Culture, and most of these exist are to put eyeballs on this exceptional talent that may not have that exposure. So that's a large bit of this weekend, was to just provide a stage, and GCW was doing that without, I can't think of a good word for it, but they were doing it not out of the kindness of their heart, but primarily for the better of the business overall. And I think that everybody won in this. A lot of fantastic Japanese talent were discovered by American viewers. We'll see what happens from here. My hope next year, more lucha talent once everything gets put together. Because again, I no bones about it. I'm a lucha guy. So fingers crossed that, but I could say overall this collective weekend can easily be seen as a huge success.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I want DDT to become a staple, like for the culture is, and how Effie's Big Gay Brunch is. I want to see Planet Death be something like, I just feel like that's just missing on a GCW weekend. I'm so sorry. Like just the lack of ultra violence, and I just
could be the venue.
It has its place and has its fans. And it's absolutely the venue. I know it is the venue, and I just really wish they could find some, even to just have one off show, like even go put that show somewhere else. Even I don't know,
parking lot.
I know that's a lot of money and everything else. We've seen bars. Why not the parking lot?
We've seen the middle of the fucking street.
Like at FSW. At FSW, they go in the back, and they did all the light tube spots out there, and then they rolled it back into the ring and continued the wrestling with the barbed wire and everything else that they were able to do. So there is a workaround. I just wish they would find a way, but I get it with everything going on. That's probably the least of their problems, but I just think that those are staples. I want DDT to become a staple. This clusterfuck absolutely cemented itself as it needs to, and I think that's what it needs to be the ending of everyone, because every clusterfuck has always been fun and entertaining. But I just really found this one just over the top entertaining for all the reasons, and all the talent that showed up and delivered. And I'm right there with you though. I enjoyed everything, and I do want to see certain things just become staples and consistent. The world of lucha, yeah, was always something that I kind of always look forward to. But at least be like, hey, you're not getting it then. At least we're getting it here. Then I guess I kind of want to say they could do that when we gave your Planet Death back in July in Tokyo or something like that. Like, yeah, but I think it just misses its
But
spot.
that's
Like
not
in the collective
American
weekend.
Planet Death. Exactly.
Yeah,
And then you
true.
have Lucha Underground, that's another one. Like I said, for me, Lucha Underground. So there are shows here that I'm, hey, we had, yeah. Well, we'll get to it. The one thing that I know
Lucha
for
Underground would
sure,
be awesome. Let's bring the Lucha Underground come back.
that's why I started stopping myself. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
this really showed. Well, that's a deep talk. That's why I didn't go too far with that one. GCW showed that they can do it without glass. They did it without a focus on glass. Do I prefer it? Absolutely. But did they put on a show where people were like, oh, this is terrible? Why can't? Hell no. There were no complaints all weekend. I was sitting here watching Twitter like crazy. I got messages coming in. I got all kinds of shit. And not one of them said, oh, this show is shit, or oh, this is trash, or oh, this. Not at all. And if there was a complaint, it was like your situation where it's like that booking on that one thing just, God damn it, So I get that. Outside of that, though,
That's personalized to me.
I mean, I heard no bathroom complaints. I didn't hear shit about traffic. I didn't hear anything, and all the pictures I got were party pictures. Everybody was just happy and everybody was just together. And like you said, that's the point. So I'm really happy that the Love Fest went down, baby. But yeah, we fucking did it, brother. We did it. We completed this bad boy.
I want to touch on one thing. I just want to bring it up since
Yes.
we kind of like I saw it earlier and you kind of retweeted and stuff. Speaking about all this deathmatch stuff.
Yeah.
Are we getting the Prince? Is the Prince coming back?
Oh man, it's
Drew
good
Parker
you said something
showing
about
up in
that.
TNT.
Maybe he
I've
has
never
the
been
itch.
so excited. I've never been so excited to see a return happen overseas and stuff. Like, I hope Drew Parker has whatever he had settled. We've been dying. I've been like we said, like, hey, we hope he comes back, but you got to take care of what you need to take care of. But man, if he's back, I think that could reinvigorate this whole deathmatch scene out here in GCW. Bring the King, bring the Prince back in here. We got to see the King versus the Prince at some point, man. Nick Gage is looking as good as he is right now too. I got so hopeful seeing that tweet earlier today. So Drew Parker did return at TNT Extreme Wrestling. I don't know when it happened, but I saw the tweet today and I just popped because he's probably is my favorite deathmatch wrestler, or was before he retired. And his career was very short, but very, very talented wrestler. And I was just happy to see him kind of back, and maybe he's happy and good enough to be back, and gives me some hope for future death matches in GCW.
You know what? If he's coming back, GCW will be a destination at least for a couple shows. He was loved over here.
I'm telling you, I popped. I don't think I've ever popped for someone returning overseas. Like, let's just say like in New Japan, if I saw someone like show up over there, then I pop, but not for TNT wrestling. Like, I never in my wildest dreams would think that happened. But I'm glad, because the reason I knew because I followed TNT and they were the ones who retweeted it, and because of GCW go to TNT last year, 2 years ago, I've been starting to follow them. So that's also the good thing about this collective now. I hope some fans now go seek out Defy, go seek out TJPW, go check out some of these names that they saw in For the Culture and Big Game Brunch that are killing it all over the independent scene, and Progress doing what they did. I definitely now actually going to start keeping a little bit more touch on Progress, because I enjoyed their card as well. But what a fun weekend.
What else can we say? No, that's good though. I just want to say thanks again for everybody for hanging in. Like I said, over these last 2 weeks, been a little extra rough on me. Brant has his own things going on that are difficult too. So we're all very thankful we can even just sit down and enjoy each other for 2 hours. It's not easy sometimes. So for the same thing, thank you for everyone who was able to tune in for the couple hours that we have here. we do have a ton of fun doing this, and we do love all of our listeners. Literally everyone I've seen in here and then some have been on messages with me back and forth. So, we just want to be good partners with GCW. Maybe one day we'll really, really do that. But until then, we're just going to keep plugging away. I know we said that almost 2 years ago, and here we are. So we're not stopping anytime soon. And right now we have Game Changer Weekly on some beautiful continuity. We're just going to keep it going as long as we are supported by love. Just literally, we're not getting anything. We're just love. I spent hours writing just on love, bro. I just love what I do. And you do too, Brent. So we do appreciate every single person who has a chance to listen. Wrestlers, fans, like it doesn't matter. If for any reason anyone needs to get a hold of me or Brant, you see our tags down there. By all means, contact one of us. If you want to say anything mean and nasty, send it all to the GCW Plant Podcast. He loves that shit. No, I'm just kidding. Send it to me and we'll talk it out. I'm usually pretty good with that stuff, but we're very fortunate to not get fire from anybody from any side. I'm sure Lauderdale doesn't like me a little because I'm critical, but actually,
every episode, I'm the one complaining about the booking and stuff. I'm the one playing with his toys. If anything, he's probably got a problem with me. It's all in my thing. It's like I said, I would always say it's in your taste, it's in my taste. We're playing with someone else's toys. That's just how I was always book things, but I'm still watching one of the things. I'm still gonna be here supporting it.
Well, exactly. One of the things that I learned over all this time was that you can not prefer a wrestler and you don't have to hate them because you don't prefer them. That's something I learned. I've noticed people really like a wrestler, or if they're indifferent, they're like, eh, and they start to actually get negative. Like, why the fuck is this guy here? I can't stand this guy. I just realized after I've reviewed so many shows, it's like, I've noticed with fans, if they just don't like the person, there's hate towards the person. I'm like, there's no reason for that. So I know that's maybe a deep subject to get into, but that's something I did notice, is that just because you don't prefer them or like them doesn't mean that's automatic hatred. I see a lot of fans just go black and white like that. There's a lot of gray in between. So you never know. So, I mean,
I wanted to say thank you. Sorry.
No, I really was done. I was getting ready to almost fill in. It's the delay.
Oh, yeah, so my bad. I just want to say thank you all to everyone that is in this chat. We always got the regulars now. We got the people with awesome stuff. Alan, you got some awesome ideas and everything. Yeah. Kev's Bootlegs, everyone that always stops by every week and hangs out in the chat and provides some cool stuff. But normally, as hopefully you guys noticed on probably any other show, we would have hit the chat a little bit more often, but we had 11 shows to cover. So I apologize if we didn't get to any and everything, but we do appreciate all the interactions and stuff on Twitter and the back and forth. We got a lot of good discussions going on. I love it all. You don't always have to agree with us. That's what makes the good discussions and good ideas come out of that stuff. So I do appreciate everyone else here too. And as we were kind of giving shout out to like getting the platform and hopefully working with GCW a little bit more formally here soon or anytime, I want to give big shout out to Cassie and Body Slam for just letting us kind of take over this Game Changer Weekly again. And a weekend like this kind of makes me even more appreciative of everything, because we were able to cover 11 shows in almost 2 hours and 17 minutes we're at right now. Do you want to go back to last year's where we show for each individual show for 3 hours each show?
Oh my bro. Yeah, we used to be soldiers. We used to be soldiers. There was a time where we were averaging over 3 hours a show. And sometimes we were putting down, if you remember too, sometimes 3 shows a week. Like that
collective weekend though. Remember we covered insane. Like every show, every night, 3 episodes, 3 hour episodes. Like my dad now kind of watches this stuff and he's just kind of watching the YouTube stuff. But he goes, yeah, how long is the podcast going to be on Tuesday? I'm like, oh, we're keeping it like 2, maybe 3 hours. It is 11 shows, but we ain't doing it like last year. Last year was 11 shows, but each show is individually 3 hours long. We don't got 33 hours this time to go through every single show. No, I think we did a very good job of spotlighting and hitting every single match. I do wish we could have said a lot more names that we either can't pronounce or didn't pronounce for whatever reason, just because of time and everything else. But all the talent out there was awesome. And like, that was the one thing I'm glad we did hit every single show and gave them love and spotlight. But that's one thing I just wish we would have hit more names. But hey, we did 11 shows in our normal 2-hour window that we are given on here. So I am proud of that. And I am grateful too for getting this platform to still be able to give all the other talent. And that goes from production, referees, owners, promotions, all the way to the wrestlers. Everything was really good. And thank you guys for a great collective and wrestling weekend.
Gosh, that's a good way to put it right there. Yeah. Everyone involved, thank you so much. We do wish we could dive deeper. We had no time to dive deeper. We did, like I said, 11 shows. We usually do 9 to 10 matches per show. So we had to treat them like a match. So also, utmost respect to the wrestlers and all the staff. Excuse me, just like you were saying, we didn't go as deep as we wanted to. We just tried to give as much respect as we could to everyone. But let me tell you, a lot of great names were overlooked that we just didn't have the time to mention. So we wanted to at least take this time to cover the 50, 60 names that we just didn't get time for. But we have absolute love for, and we're looking, I mean, I can only find maybe 1 or 2 names that I'm just not into again. And that's it out of probably 200 or more. The clusterfuck alone was 87. So, I mean, of over 150 to 200 performers, 1 or 2 is not that bad. So thank you, GCW, for just giving such a beautiful platform for us to maybe just, I don't know. It's like a, what's it called when you can just grab stuff like a buffet. Feel like it's a buffet. And I walked out with 20 extra new favorites. Cool with that.
Yeah, definitely.
You ready to rock and roll, brother?
Yes. So next week, I am reaching out to a talent or two to see what we could get on next week. And if we could get a special guest on next week, then we will have a special guest. If not, me and John will have to come up with something on Twitter and
oh, we're good. We got
something out, but we will be on next week. Yeah. We got a list of talent coming on. I have one specific one I kind of want to reach out to, but we have more in our pockets if need be.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, now the collective is wound down and stuff, it's probably a good idea for us to get a hold of a couple of people. And I got a couple of people in mind too. We got something figured out. I think we'll figure something out quickly. Okay, so we did it.
I didn't want to reach out during collective weekend. Sorry. I just didn't want to reach out to the talent during collective weekend. I know they're busy and everything else, and it would have got lost anyway. So tomorrow, I think it will be a little cool down, cool time to reach out to them, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, please do, dude. That'll be fun. Okay, even with a delay, we ready to do this?
Delay?
Yeah. You didn't notice that delay? Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us on the delay too, everyone. I appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. I will fix this next time. I won't be stubborn here, and something's going on here where it was really good beforehand, and right when we go live, it goes off. So I will fix my end, the issues on my end. So I will get this fixed again and get back to better quality, so I don't look like I'm in 120 high definition over here. All right, here we go.
All right, buddy. Long. Oh, we fucked this up already.
Long.
That's the delay.
I'm going off of you. I'm trying to see if it's easier going off of you.
Okay, ready? Here I go. I'm going to go through the regular pace. Long live.
Long.
G.
Live.
C.
G. C.
W.
W.